This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Sunny and 26 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
FIVEaa Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. FIVEaAextra.com.
The Federal Minister at the centre of an historic rape allegation is expected to identify himself today. More from Nine's Michael Packey.
A woman has claimed she was sexually assaulted by a cabinet minister in Sydney more than 30 years ago. New South Wales police were asked to pursue the matter in February last year, but the woman took her life before lodging a formal complaint. Police received new documentation after her death. They sought legal advice but determined there's insufficient evidence to proceed, and the matter is now closed. The PM says the minister vigorously denies the claims and won't stand down from his role.
A bombshell report has found sexual harassment is rife in the SA Parliament. The review found almost a third of the 199 people surveyed had experienced sexual harassment. 16 recommendations have been made, including the creation of a sexual and discrimination harassment policy. The government will respond to the report today. The Defence Force is being recruited to help keep our most vulnerable citizens safe from COVID-19. Trained doctors and nurses will be tasked with administering the jabs in aged care homes. Federal Health Minister Greg Hunt says they'll be called up in the coming days.
We're expecting the first of the ADF to commence next week, if not sooner. They are very organised. We set our best expectations and they continue to beat them, but we'll set next week as our expectation, and we're always positively surprised with the work of the ADF.
SA will receive 20,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine today. We've already received 8,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine and expect another 4,000 in the coming days. Tropical cyclone Niran will bring another day of strong winds and rainfall to far north Queensland. The cyclone's expected to pick up steam in the coming days and could turn into a Category 3 later tonight. Locals between Cape Melville and Lucinda are most at risk, with gale force winds potentially reaching 100 k's an hour. Australian scientists have found different types of fat respond differently to certain types of diets. A study of mice at the University of Sydney found visceral belly fat was harder to lose than other fats when fasting every second day. Head researcher Dr. Mark Lawrence says the same could be true for humans.
If it does, it may mean that different regimes of intermittent fast may be required to try and avoid this effect, and we just don't know the answer to those questions yet.
The company behind Dr. Seuss is cutting sales of some of its own books, calling them hurtful and wrong. More from Nine's Michael Genovese in the US.
6 titles have been pulled from the shelves because they portray people in ways that are hurtful and wrong. That's according to Dr. Seuss Enterprises. Amongst those cancelled, If I Ran the Zoo and the company's first children's book, and To Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street, which was published in 1937. In it, an Asian character is portrayed wearing a conical hat and holding chopsticks eating from a bowl. The San Diego-based company says it took feedback from teachers, academics and specialists in the field.
Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
Flurio milk comes from local cows and it's bottled right here. Look for the local Flurio Milk Company.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. South Australia's missed a golden opportunity to record a huge run chase against Western Australia, going down by 13 runs in their one-dayer in Perth. Chasing 370 to win, the Redbacks were cruising at 1 for 280 thanks to brilliant centuries from Travis Head and Harry Nilsson. But they lost 9 for 75 and will now be looking to bounce back when they take on New South Wales in Adelaide tomorrow. Still on cricket, and Australia is expected to make several changes for this evening's third T20 international against New Zealand, with the tourists needing to win all 3 remaining games to clinch the series. Aussie assistant coach Andrew McDonald says, though Daniel Sams and Marcus Stoinis cemented their spots after big innings in the Game 2 loss in Dunedin.
Like anything, there's always plenty of positives within those. We saw Daniel Sams show what he could do with the bat, lower down the order. I thought Marcus Stoinis, batting at 5 with the power that he had there, in particular his play against spin was a huge positive.
2 games in the A-League overnight with Central Coast 2-1 winners over Perth Glory, while Melbourne City beat the Western Sydney Wanderers 2-0. And Manchester City will be aiming for a 21st straight win when they take on Wolverhampton in the English Premier League in the next half hour. And in some netball to finish, the Aussie Diamonds are 1-0 down in their 4-match Constellation Cup series against New Zealand after suffering a 49-44 loss in Christchurch. The two countries will battle it out again today. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Make sure you and your car stay cool with aircon and cooling services. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny and 26 today, sunny again tomorrow, also 26, partly cloudy for Friday and warmer for the weekend, tops of 28 on both days. At the moment, 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast. Coming up on the program this morning, we'll be off to the UK. Vincent McAviney will join us. The Attorney-General, Vicky Chapman, on a report into sexual harassment in the South Australian Parliament. We'll go round the courts with Sean Fuster. We'll flash back with Michael Smith. Andy Lee will be on the show as well, talking about his new TV show. And we'll talk about the passing of Australian music giant Michael Goodings. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. Michael Goodings, what a colossus in the Australian musical scene. Very young as well. But I suppose he probably lived a bit of a rock and roll lifestyle, Writing checks his body couldn't cash.
I reckon
Keeping
that's why
wild company.
The outpouring from musos was amazing yesterday.
Yeah.
So there were ones you could expect, like Kylie Minogue, who was instrumental in making her career, but Bruce Springsteen tweeting about it as well yesterday, and everyone in between. And I reckon it was because of a couple of things. And one of them is what you mentioned. In a world of music executives, I reckon he was the most that acted like probably a muso.
Yeah.
He was
or
probably
a fan.
A fan.
Because a lot of them are just, sort of A&R robots who are just interested in, signing people for purely mercenary reasons and dropping them the moment, like, if the second album doesn't work, you're gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
But he seemed to be the muso's promoter,
There was an interview that I barely remember that I did, that 5AA tweeted yesterday when I was doing afternoons with Michael Goodings, when he was named the most powerful man in Australian music. There was an ARIA recognition that he received in 2014. And listening back to a bit of that, the other thing that I think that musos all really liked in him is, beyond not behaving like an executive, his whole approach didn't seem to be like an executive. It was like someone who was just passionate about music. In a lot of corporate sort of jobs, you're going to have people that get to high places because they're exceptional at what they do, probably on the business side or whatever it might well be. Like Peter Costello, you get the feeling, runs Channel 9. I don't think he grew up being a lover of TV. In the sense that I need to be in this. He got there because he's a good executive, a good manager and whatnot. You get the feeling listening to Goodings, he just loves music. Like he was working in what was his passion. And that sounds as though, and hearing the bands like the Rubens talk about in the last 24 hours, him pitching them, it sounds like that's what gets a lot of these guys over the line. You hear him and go, listen to this bloke with the gruff voice, with the fact that he actually really likes our stuff, knows who we are. Doesn't sound like every other slick Rick that's got a contract to sell.
Yeah. I think his one musical stuff-up, his one bad call that he ever admitted was Silverchair sent him a tape.
That's right.
And he went, nah, not really what we're after.
Yeah, he missed that one.
But you can't win, you can't pick them all, can you? And,
They were about 15 at the time
innings
as well, I think. Do fair to him. Weren't they
yeah,
stupidly young?
Oh, yeah. That was their nickname. When they came out, their nickname was Nirvana in Pyjamas.
Yeah, that's right.
Because they were all like doing year 11 at some high school in Newcastle. Maybe not even that. I'll tell you what, though, if it's the rock and roll lifestyle you're after, maybe you'd like to get a job on North Terrace at State Parliament.
Wow.
But not to make light of it, some of the stuff that came out in that report yesterday makes it sound like it's some sort of frat house, atmosphere. Unbelievable. So more than 1 in 4 people, and by people we don't actually know who we're talking about exactly, because there's anonymity, obviously, in the survey that the state's Equal Opportunity Commissioner was asked to prepare. This was in light of the alleged assault by former Liberal MP Sam DeLuc of Connie Benares when he slapped her on the behind at a Christmas party in 2019, and then they said, right, we're going to have a review of the culture in this place. So to find that 1 in 4 people who are employed, more than 1 in 4 people who are employed at State Parliament, has been a victim of sexual harassment of some kind, and it includes indecent exposure. Like, what the hell is wrong with that place?
27.1%. And my first thought was, so that's 27.1% of all respondents. So what percentage of women is that worked in Parliament that have been the victims of sexual harassment before? Because I'm guessing it's only a small percentage of the blokes that have been.
Oh, yeah, well, of course. It's largely, almost always, something that women suffer from.
I mean, so if you, to extrapolate that data, you could argue it's almost half. You'd think. It'd be almost half of the women in Parliament will have been victims of some form of sexual harassment.
Yeah.
That's staggering. Because if you look at the ranks of staffers these days, it's at least 50-50 in terms of the gender split.
Yeah. It's funny, I wrote that piece on the weekend about, particularly having been married to Kate, like, how would you feel if your own daughter went into politics? And I said, well, at the moment, I think until things change, I'd say there's better things you can do with your life. You just have to put up with these jerks hitting on you and what have you. But there's a piece by Janet Albrechtsen in the paper today in The Australian. The blurb on it, on the front page, says, politics is no longer a sane career choice. And she picks up on what Nicole Flint has done, just saying, stuff this for a joke, I'm out of here. And I think there's just a few things that need to change instantly. One is the prevalence of alcohol, and two is the lateness of sittings. Because people are just stuck down there all the time, sitting around late. And I think Canberra's still far, far worse than state politics because you've got travel and isolation as factors as well. Yep. People are over there on their own, getting lonely, getting toey, doing stupid things, unsupervised. I can't help but feel, though, that part of it is some of the people who go into politics are counterintuitively, not particularly socially adept. The sort of, some of the weirdos you get as staffers and so on.
I think, my experience
and in some cases MPs.
My experience working there, and I think I've said this on air a number of times before, was that it always felt like it was decades behind in terms of normal workplaces. The culture felt way older.
Yeah.
It felt like it was 1984.
Yeah.
That was the sort of sense you got around the place with the conduct and the structure of a day and the tone of conversation and things. And is it because of the type of people that the politics attracts, or is it just the nature of the environment? I'm not sure. It's interesting that the recommendations in the state parliamentary investigation that's been undertaken goes to a point you've made all week when it comes to Canberra. They want an HR department. That's literally almost the sum of the recommendations. There's a host of them in the report yesterday, 16 recommendations, but they pretty much all relate to having a people and culture team, which is the new fandangled way.
How can they not have one, though?
Yeah. This is because it's
extraordinary.
Because it's a workplace that's decades behind. That's why.
Unbelievable. Like to not have your own, dedicated HR contact point for people who've suffered things like this. It's beggars belief, doesn't it?
They'd be busy.
But this is the thing. This is the problem with politics. It's not really a criticism of each side. Ultimately, politics is about making sure you win the next election.
Yeah.
I mean, it's about service. It's about answering, a burning passion you've got in your heart to, represent your community. It's about all those things.
You can do all those things better in government.
You got to win.
That's what everyone would say.
And this is where things have just been overlooked for so long.
Yeah, don't make a fuss.
Yeah.
We'll take care of you when we're in government. 14 minutes after 6, 8223 0000 is the number. You can text us on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line, 0448 08 1395, or you can watch along via YouTube or the FIVEaa Facebook page. News headlines coming up in just a moment.
If you think the only thing better than your Mazda is a new Mazda, now is the right time to upgrade to the next model in the Mazda family. It's a new year, and it's also a great time to take advantage of 2020 plate sales at Mawson Lakes Mazda. We know the only thing more exhilarating than taking a new Mazda for a test drive is taking one home. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city, Salisbury Highway.
Taking time to listen can make all the difference. Farrell & O'Neill Funerals is a South Australian family company committed to guiding and supporting families at an emotional time. We value a lifetime by offering a compassionate, caring and unique service with attention to the smallest detail. Finding guidance through a difficult time can be comforting. Farrell and O'Neill Funerals. 8296 3134.
In these changing times, it's important to know where to go to get the facts. Stay connected to news you can trust. Subscribe to The Advertiser for just $1 for the first 28 days and receive 24/7 full digital access. Conditions apply. Search The Advertiser offer now.
At CMAX, we know your time is valuable, which is why we're happy to pay you for it. CMAX requires people aged 45 to 85, diagnosed with moderate to severe osteoarthritis, to participate in our study at CMAX in collaboration with University of Adelaide. If eligible, you'll be required to visit us 14 times over a 12-month period. On completion, you will be paid $2,670 for your time. Interested? Call CMAX on 1800 150 433.
Hi, I'm Matthew Kelly from Goldsborough Financial Services. Looking into aged care options for a loved one can be stressful and confusing. There are important financial decisions to be made, and understanding the costs involved is a real comfort for families. We believe that getting the right advice at the right time can make a real difference. We've been helping South Australians with aged care advice for over 25 years, and we're here for you too, should you need us. Goldsborough, for all your tomorrows. Goldsborough Financial Services, AFSL number 225330.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide. Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
17 minutes after 6, news headlines time on this Wednesday morning. Big day in Canberra on the way. The Federal Cabinet Minister at the centre of a historic rape allegation is expected to identify himself to try and clear his name. New South Wales Police have closed a case into the alleged sexual assault, saying there's not enough admissible evidence to proceed. The woman spoke to police in 2019 but didn't lodge a formal complaint before taking her life last year.
It's not known whether he's going to give a press conference or whether he's just going to issue a written statement. I think he's going to issue a written statement.
I would think so, yeah.
But it's not the kind of thing where I would imagine he's going to take questions on it. Yeah, it's remarkable, this story. Apparently the blokes, and I don't say this with any great degree of sympathy, I've got to be honest about that, but it sounds like he's got a number of issues going on in his life, like his marriage is busted up. And
right.
Yeah.
Can he continue in Cabinet after you've said you're at the centre of this? I mean, okay, he's not been found guilty of anything to this point in time, but you'd think it's going to occupy a little bit of his time.
Well, the precedent on the other side is Bill Shorten.
Yeah.
I mean, if the minister, keep trying to make sure I don't say his name, if the minister comes out and says, as Bill Shorten did, I was the subject of historic rape allegations that were completely wrong, I reject them, and I found to be wrong, then, you know, he can say I've drawn a line under it, because that's what
Yep,
Shorten did
that's
back
true.
in 2004. But the difference there is that Shorten's were investigated and found that there was nothing in it, whereas these were under investigation and closed on account of the woman's death because they could no longer be investigated. They couldn't be prosecuted because there's no victim. That's a difference.
Yep. A new report has found sexual harassment is prevalent within state parliament. The inquiry uncovered allegations of indecent exposure and physical assault. 8 people reported sexual harassment by MPs or their staff. Politics in this country needs to seriously have a good hard look at itself, doesn't it? Just collectively as an institution.
Yeah, totally.
New laws have passed state parliament that will put harsher restrictions on young motorcyclists. The reform increased the minimum age riders can gain their licence from 16 to 18. Here is Vincent Tarzia.
Tragically, we've lost 5 motorcycle lives here in South Australia that have been lost in 2021. We know that motorcyclists, especially young motorcyclists, are overrepresented in lives lost on our roads. So if this legislation saves a handful of lives each and every year, then it's certainly absolutely worth it.
How about this for a headline? The Adelaide City Council all agreed on something. They voted to stop the Crows from building a new headquarters in the city. They voted unanimously at a special meeting to oppose any bid by the club to use the parklands for administrative facilities.
Yeah, well, they've still got their excellent aquatic centre up there, leaking both water and money at a rate of knots. Good luck to them. Hell of a way to run a business, isn't it?
Yeah,
You know.
well. Seriously, that group. Music industry legend Michael Goodings is set to get a state funeral as tributes flowed from music superstars, business, sports and political leaders after his shock death. Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews says he wanted to discuss the plan with the 68-year-old's family before announcing how his life will be celebrated. Goodings been working hard recently to get live music back in Victoria after the pandemic shut down gigs, organising the Sounds Better Together concerts in recent months. He'd been working on another concert for Anzac Day this year. What's clear, speaking to everyone around him, hearing from everyone around him and hearing the things he'd been working on, this was a total shock.
Oh, yeah.
This came totally out of the blue.
Yeah. I think he had a heart attack.
Yeah, just...
out of the blue.
Yeah, completely out of the blue. Two members of a neo-Nazi group who allegedly assaulted a Channel 9 security guard have been interviewed by Victoria's Counter-Terrorism Command. The leader of the far-right National Socialist Network, Thomas Sewell, is accused of punching a security guard after he and another man demanded to see journalists hours before a story was due to air on a current affair. Two men, aged 21 and 27, were arrested last night. That doesn't... Shaking down the local TV station doesn't typically work, does it?
No.
Historically, has not in this country anyway.
Yeah.
Maybe in some other places.
Particularly if you're a member of the National Socialists.
Yeah.
You know. That was an idea that's gone out of fashion quite a long time ago.
I thought, yeah. I thought we saw how that played out.
Yeah, exactly.
Work is underway to develop a tweaked COVID-19 vaccine to protect people against the Brazilian and South African strains. Oxford University is trying to adjust so the dose would target several variants at once. There's a large-scale search in the UK after a person who tested positive for the Brazilian strain didn't properly fill out their contact details. They're searching house by house. Watching Sky News this morning, they said they've now searched 299 houses. I thought, okay, well, that's concerning.
Yeah, that's right.
You don't want a strain named after you either, do you?
No, exactly.
The publication of some of the famed Dr. Seuss books will cease. The 6 titles include If I Ran the Zoo, are done with. The business which protects the author's legacy says it's due to racist and insensitive imagery and hurtful portrayals of cultural stereotypes. I don't remember that If I Ran the Zoo, Dr. Seuss books. So
There's another book that's been banned called It Happened on Mulberry Street.
Okay.
And one of the reasons it's been banned, and it hasn't been banned externally, it's actually been voluntarily done by the Seuss Foundation, who are the custodians of all of Dr. Seuss's work in San Diego. It's called It Happened on Mulberry Street, and it's one of his early books. But the offending image in it is a picture of a Chinese person who's wearing a bamboo hat and eating with chopsticks. And I sort of think, well, isn't that sort of what some Chinese people look like? I mean, if you drew a white person, you know, you draw them with blue eyes, blonde hair, I don't know, maybe that's a bit presumptuous these days. But, I mean, you think back to, like, there were all those notorious cartoons at the turn of the century, the previous century, late 1800s, early 1900s here in Australia in the Bulletin magazine, leading up to the formalisation of the White Australia policy, that were utterly racist. They drew pictures of Chinese people as if they were octopuses, with one tentacle on a bag of opium, another one on a group of prostitutes. You know, the whole yellow peril thing, and they had the, you know, misshapen teeth, and they were disgusting racist caricatures. But I thought Harry Shearer made a really good point the other day. Harry Shearer being the actor who does a lot of the characters in The Simpsons, including Dr. Hibbert, who's the black GP. Go with that nice smile, very friendly demeanour. But The Simpsons have said, we're not going to have white people playing people of colour anymore, or voicing people of colour anymore. And Harry Shearer said, I just thought it was the job of an actor to pretend that they were somebody else.
Well, you get in this. This is a huge debate in Hollywood at the moment when people play people with disabilities. There's now the argument is, well, why didn't you get someone with a disability to do the job? Or
tell you what, old Daniel Day-Lewis is in trouble.
Well,
he goes full, you know what, and my left foot.
Yeah, I think it's ludicrous.
Tom Cruise.
Yeah, now the suggestion is that none of that is appropriate.
Sean Penn.
You could get an actor.
I Am Sam.
You get someone who is that to do it. You know, it's.
But I think that just sort of jumping at shadows a bit. I mean, the idea that someone wearing a bamboo hat and eating with chopsticks is being held up to ridicule seems pretty over the top.
Yeah, the thing that the bridge too far logically, I think, for people, and our listeners will probably agree on this. Telstra Storm at Barker Text line to let us know. is when it doesn't. There's no pejorative connotation. There's no suggestion that it's not a put down. It's a depiction.
Yeah.
I think that's the one
And we're
people
not
struggle
talking
with.
about, this isn't like Harry Crumb pictures of lubral lips type.
Yeah.
Women of colour with stupidly oversized bums and what have you. Like those 1950s Betty Boop type images. Oh, yeah.
It's not meant to. Yeah. The fact once you say intent doesn't matter, I think a lot of people go, oh, hang on, it's got to. If it's meant to put down or hurt or laugh or ridicule, that's got to matter more than just a depiction that subsequently has been rendered or deemed
insensitive. The irony too is that Dr. Seuss was a Jewish bloke who devoted a lot of his life to fighting extreme politics, extreme fascism, Nazism.
26 after 6. The weather today is 26. How about that? 26 Thursday
Spooky.
as well. 26 Friday. Saturday will be 28. Sunday 28. 26 on Monday. 24 on Tuesday. So we're in that sort of 24 to 28 band. And I'm just having another look. Slim to none the chance of rain for the next 7 days. So it'll very, very mild and consistent weather at this time of year.
Attention business owners and ABN holders. Wow, it's March already. If you want to take delivery of a new Toyota before June 30, you have got to get your order in now at Peter Kittle Toyota. Don't write it on a sticky note. Don't try to remember it. Just get it done. Place your end of financial year business car order before the end of March or you could miss out. Call or visit peterkittletoyota.com.au and place your order with our team of fleet specialists. Job done. Peter Kittle Toyota. Car buying made easy. MDL 284343.
At Coles, we're helping lower the cost of your weekly shop with thousands of specials across the store, like half-price Cadbury Family Marvellous Creations or Bubbly Block Chocolate or Arnott Shapes Crackers 160 to 190 grams. Coles, value the Australian way. Offer ends Tuesday.
G'day, it's Eddie May here from NRG Solar. If you've postponed your overseas trip, whether you plan to sun yourself on the deck of a cruise ship or hang out on a tropical island, you can still make the most of the sun and invest in solar panels. It's a smart move because you'll actually be getting a great return on your investment. And with the money you've saved, you'll be able to take an even better holiday. Say bon voyage to your power bills forever. Visit nrgsolar.com.au or drop into our showroom on South Road at Richmond.
Ear health on Healthy Living, thanks to Specsavers.
Catherine Launchbury is a Specsavers audiologist.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How common is hearing loss?
It's actually a lot more common than most people expect. Currently, 1 in 6 Australians actually suffer from hearing loss.
What are some of the signs that we might be experiencing hearing loss?
There's a few good signs to look out for. So if your friends and family are telling you that you're putting the TV up a bit too loud for them, that's often a good one. If you're struggling to hear conversation clearly, so you're just not quite catching every single word, or you're finding that it's really difficult when you're in a noisy restaurant or the pub. Also, at the moment, of course, with people wearing masks, if you find that you're really struggling to hear somebody, it can be that you're not actually hearing so well, you're not able to do a bit of lip reading. So definitely worthwhile having somebody have a look in your ears and seeing if that is the case.
Book your initial 15-minute hearing check for free with a Specsavers audiology professional at specsavers.com.au/hearing. Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
It's 29 minutes after 6. Let's talk sport. Tom Wren in the studio with us. Thanks to Flurio Milk. Comes from local cows. It's bottled right here. Look for the local Flurio Milk Company. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Boys, never going to be easy. Not going to be easy to follow in the footsteps of Bruce McAvaney in terms of AFL. Who would you have gone with?
Not James Brayshaw.
Well, that's what's happening.
I know.
He's going to get a 6-week trial, and then it's going to go to either Hamish McLaughlin and Luke Darcy to also probably get a 6-week trial as well to work out chemistry, etc. on how you call them.
Well, say what you like about Hamish McLaughlin. He's risen to the heights he has through good, honest slog.
No, Hamish, to be fair, when I was starting out a fair while ago with calling, I was working at 7 at the time, and he sat down with me in edit booths and said, let's just call a quarter or half of football. Because you know what it's like, when you're starting, you don't know where to start or how to do it.
Yep.
And took the time out of his day when he didn't need to,
That's good.
A lot of time for him,
That's good
actually.
to hear.
So, really good.
Obviously, if you're doing it like the dream team of commentary, I reckon Hutto is the guy I'd have.
I think Hutto's the best caller.
Yeah, Hutto, I think, would be
in the
my,
country.
Yeah, he'd be my guy.
Yeah.
if I could pick someone to put in that spot.
Yeah.
He's sensational.
Can I say something that both of you is going to embarrass both of you blokes? I think guys like you Tom, when you call tennis, football, whatever it is, and you will, even though you're very much in your infancy as a caller. Manny at the fruit shop the other day, he said to me, he's really good at calling the footy. Will, because you know your stuff, and you know the key thing though, it's not about you guys when you're doing it.
Yeah,
we don't see roving Goodings at the end of,
and you never will.
Exactly. and Tom, you're not like the sort of the Triple M style. Footy's on the radio. And like, just bloody let us know who's kicked the ball, who's marked the ball.
Yeah,
they're part of it. And like, Will and I were saying in the ad break, what can you tell us about Martin Tyler? Nothing, other than he's the best football commentator of all time.
Yeah, he's beautiful, isn't he? Yeah, he just enhances the product that's there.
That's right. Yeah, he's not the story.
Yeah,
he just tells the story.
But that's how you guys approach your gig.
I think Bruce was the best at it, wasn't he?
Absolutely.
And that's why he's so hard to follow.
Yeah.
Because, he was so selfless. He was humble and, brilliant. Tough act to follow, but good luck to James and whoever else goes after that.
Good luck, James.
Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
I'm Red, thanks to FIVEaa milk. Comes from local cows. It's bottled right here. Look for the local FIVEaa milk company.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 26 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
A federal cabinet minister at the centre of historic rape allegations is expected to make a public statement today. A woman claims she was sexually assaulted by the man in Sydney more than 30 years ago, but took her own life before making a formal statement. The minister is due to come forward after New South Wales police closed their investigation into the matter, finding insufficient admissible evidence. It's understood the man won't be standing down. A confronting report has been released into behaviour in state parliament. The Equal Opportunity Commission report contains disturbing details of sexual harassment by MPs and staff, as well as discriminatory behaviour on the basis of gender, race and age. Deputy Opposition Leader Susan Close says clearly such behaviour is unacceptable.
The allegations are incredibly serious and absolutely sobering for anyone who works in Parliament House. We need to see action immediately, and we want to get on and get some work done so that we can make this a safe place to work.
The state's vaccination program is set to ramp up today. 20,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine are set to arrive. They'll be deployed to frontline workers in regional areas from Monday. And work is underway to develop a tweaked vaccine to protect people against the Brazilian and South African strains. Oxford University is trying to make adjustments, so the dose would target several variants at once. There's a large-scale search in the UK after a person who tested positive for the Brazilian strain didn't properly fill out their contact details. Health Secretary Matt Hancock says it's a large-scale search.
We're doing all we can to stop the spread of this new variant in the UK, to analyse its effects and to develop an updated vaccine that works on all these variants of concern.
Adelaide City Council has blocked a move by the Crows to build a new club headquarters in the Parklands. Elected members voted unanimously against the motion, but Councillor Alex Hyde says they're not opposed to the Parklands being used for training.
These are the parameters of the discussion. This is what we're ruling out now. If you want to still use an oval for training and locate your headquarters somewhere else, still open to that.
The US has announced sanctions on Russian officials and businesses over the near-fatal poisoning of Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny. Senior administration officials say intelligence has found the Russian government was behind the nerve agent attack on the 44-year-old. The director of the FBI says the Bureau sees the siege on the US Capitol building as an act of domestic terrorism. Christopher Wray's giving evidence at an inquiry into the insurrection, which resulted in the deaths of 5 people. He says detectives are actively pursuing those who carried out the attack.
That siege was criminal behavior, plain and simple, and it's behavior that we, the FBI, view as domestic terrorism. It's got no place in our democracy, and tolerating it would make a mockery of our nation's rule of law.
turning to 5AA Sport.
Fluorio milk comes from local cows and it's bottled right here. Look for the local Fluorio Milk Company.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Let's start with cricket. South Australia will be looking to bounce back after suffering a frustrating 13-run loss against Western Australia in Perth overnight. The Redbacks were on track to chase down the mammoth total of 370. That was thanks to centuries from Travis Head and Harry Nilsson, but they fell short thanks to a huge batting collapse which included 4 run-outs. Meantime, Australia faces a sudden death T20 clash against New Zealand in Wellington tonight, with the tourists down 2-0 in the 5-match series. To soccer, and the Central Coast Mariners have opened up a 4-point lead on top of the A-League ladder after beating Perth 2-1. Coach Alan Stajic says his side had to hang tough.
I thought we showed a lot of courage, a lot of resilience. Probably wasn't our best game with the ball, but to show that resilience and courage and spirit within the team really got us over the line.
To netball, and the Aussie Diamonds are in danger of losing their first Constellation Cup series to New Zealand since 2012 after losing Game 1 49-44 in Christchurch overnight. Despite the result, Captain Caitlin Bassett told Fox Sports there were a lot of positives.
3 new Diamonds made their debut tonight and really proud of how they went out there and went about their game, but we've obviously got a little bit of work to do and a bit of footage to look at before our next game.
Players have little time to recover and do that though, with Game 2 being played tonight. And this year's Women's Rugby World Cup in New Zealand's been postponed until 2022 due to the COVID pandemic. Global travel restrictions have forced the organisers to delay the event. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 selling Honda dealer. For a new car, make them your #1 choice.
Roadworks today, Regency Road at North-South Motorway, Regency Park, Springbank Doors, Goodwood Road's intersection there at Colonel Light Gardens, and the City North Terrace between Charles Street and Gawler Place. Speed cameras, McIntyre Road, Power Hills West, North-South Motorway, Waterloo Corner and Boulevard. Right now, it's Snooze Velocity members save up to 40% off regular prices, and for 1 week only, earn double Velocity points. Visit Snooze today. Exclusions, T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Make sure you and your car stay cool with aircon and cooling services. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny and 26 today, sunny again tomorrow, then Friday partly cloudy, also 26 and warmer for the weekend, tops of 28. At the moment, 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 7. Michael Smith from 7 News will join us after 7 o'clock this morning. We'll flash back with Michael. He's celebrating a milestone piece of road infrastructure in South Australia, the Hyson Tunnels, which mean a whole generation hasn't had to experience the Devil's Elbow corner. So we're asking for the $100 Waller's gift card this morning. Finish this sentence. Young people are so lucky they never had to experience blank. What is it? 8223.
All of them drink.
Oh, God.
My lemonade. Remember that?
Oh, get it off. 8223 is the number. The Music Man will be playing that a little bit later in the morning too. But what a younger generation is lucky they didn't have to experience in Adelaide. No one will know what that was like. I mean, the idea that there was a stretch of road so treacherous and dangerous it was called Devil's Elbow really feels like something from yesteryear now, doesn't it?
Well, it was not just the fact that it existed for so long, but that its notoriety was formalised by the powers that be, who actually had the power to do something about it. It's like, yeah, that place where everyone, keeps getting maimed in major car accidents. Why don't we just call it Devil's Elbow?
That's amazing, the thought process.
I know. I can remember actually feeling excited as a kid when we drove up into the hills. We'd get to Devil's Elbow, and it was like an event.
Yes.
Back me up, people. I'm sure other people listening would have clear memories of that when they were kids in the car, and Dad would say, "Okay, kids, it's coming up, Devil's Elbow." Like, whoa!
Oh yeah, I remember being in the car with Mum multiple times, and she's saying, "All right, here we go, Devil's Elbow." I'm like, "Gee, all right."
I suppose the closest thing we've got to it now is Britannia Roundabout.
Yeah,
just a stupid bit of infrastructure.
Yeah, 8223 is the number. The younger generations are so lucky they didn't have to experience what in
and
Adelaide.
it could be anything.
Could be. It doesn't have to be roads. Could be dentistry in the 1940s. It could be anything you absolutely like.
I can remember talking to my late grandma who had 9 kids. My mum's one of 9. She said the best thing that was ever invented was the washing machine. Because for her, she used to use a glass washboard. Well, she gave it to me, in fact. I had it when I was a teenager, and I was trying to play music on it. It was a glass washboard, and the glass was sort of raised and ridged, designed for scrubbing clothes. But I got myself some steel thimbles, and I was trying to work out, how to play it like I was in some sort of, Mississippi jug band for a while there. But I don't know, the washing machine, probably the greatest feminist invention of all time.
All right, let's take some calls. Dave in Lightsview, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, mate. How you going?
Good, mate.
Thanks, Dave.
Breaking down without a mobile phone in the country.
Oh,
yeah.
Sounds like that one comes with a story, Dave. One notable experience.
I've broken down many times, on the way to Murray Bridge or Melbourne, and if you don't get those phones on the side of the road and you're fair way out, you got to put your finger out or your thumb out and say, "Please help me." And
that's a great one.
Pretty
Dave.
hard.
That is fantastic. Thank you, Dave. Nice
Kids,
way to get us
kids
started.
today would just go, well, what do you do without a phone?
Yep. Well, we're stuffed. That's the answer. It was back in the days of Devil's Elbow. There were big concerns. Dominic in Colonel Light Gardens, what is the thing that younger generations are lucky they didn't have to experience in Adelaide?
I didn't have to experience 6 of the best at school, the cuts or the cane.
Oh, yeah, the cut, the cane. I don't know if I necessarily missed that period.
No, that's not really the question, is it? It's not fond memories necessarily. It's
but
just
saying to kids today, the idea that you used to be able to be legally bashed by a teacher at school, so you go. I do sort of wonder whether, I'm certainly not saying that was an ideal state of events, but it's probably swung a little bit too far the other way, where it's all, we're all equals.
Would have
now.
made discipline easier, I'm guessing. In some
we had at
cases.
Marion Primary School, not high school, primary school, we had this extruded yellow plastic bat. Like those beach tennis bats?
Oh, like a wiffle bat.
Yeah, and all the kids, we used to call it the waffle burger.
Right.
It's like, watch out, you get the waffle burger.
The waffle burger. Paul in Pennington, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, guys. I got one for you. 18% home loan interest.
Oh, yeah.
I shouldn't laugh, mate, because you sound like you lived through that.
You bet.
Yeah, the late 80s, hey, what a time.
18%.
Staggering, isn't it?
And
the recession we had to have.
What do we now talk about, the potential for negative interest rates. The RBA met just yesterday, in fact, and first Tuesday of the month. Rates are on hold again. They will be for the next couple of years. House prices are going gangbusters because we've effectively got close to 0% rates.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are living on borrowed time, though. When you consider how long it takes you to pay off your house, e.g. 50 years. So the next 2 years, whatever. But do people think rates are going to be low for 5 decades?
No, I think people look at it, I think, right now as if I don't get in now, I'll never get in.
Yeah.
Because the RBA's, they're talking about things like 10% growth a year for the next 2 years in house prices.
That's ridiculous.
If you're in year 10 right now, what are your prospects of owning a house anytime soon? Jimmy, good morning.
Yeah, good day, fellas. Yeah, 3 things. The cane.
Yep.
Remember the school cane?
Oh, I remember that very well.
The hitchhiking.
Hitchhiking.
And hard work.
Yeah, good on you, Jimmy.
Thanks, Jimmy.
We're going to keep taking calls on this. Michael Smith's up after 7, and there's so many great calls coming through. 8223 0000 is the number. Keep them coming through, and we'll give away the Wohlers when we catch up with Michael a little bit later. Let's check traffic, thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Their mid-March demo clearance is on now with huge savings and factory bonuses right across the range.
Roadworks today, Regency Road at North-South Motorway, Regency Park, Springbank Doors, Goodwood Road's intersection there at Colonel Light Gardens, and the City North Terrace between Charles Street and Gawler Place. Speed cameras, McIntyre Road, Para Hills West, North-South Motorway, Waterloo Corner and Boulevard. Right now at Snooze, Velocity members save up to 40% off regular prices and for 1 week only earn double Velocity points. Visit Snooze today. Exclusions, T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
G'day, it's Bix here at Jarvis Toyota. I've come for a test drive of the all-new Toyota Hilux. Now, the new Hilux is just amazing. It's got more power, better fuel economy, it's packed with intelligent safety features, plus it comes with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard. Great for my old school playlist. Rediscover the road in the all-new Toyota Hilux. Come for a test drive and take home the feeling. Jarvis Toyota, South Road, Cleverly Park.
If you want to build a new home, something that reflects you and your lifestyle, speak with Beechwood Homes. And just so you know, they won't try and sell you a house plan. In fact, there's no house plans until you tell them what you want. So go for it. Start thinking of all the possibilities or get in touch with Beechwood Homes for a few thought starters. Life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. For inspiration, visit the stunning Beechwood Homes display home in Blackwood Park.
Have you reached a crossroads in your life? Looking to make a change for the better? Secure your family's future and make a difference in your community whilst building a business in the thriving and dynamic home care industry with Right at Home. You'll enjoy the freedom to grow your own business with the full support of a top quality national home care brand. Make your dreams come true. Talk to Right at Home about a home care franchise. To find out more, visit rightathome.com.au and click on Business Opportunities.
At CMAX, we know your time is valuable, which is why we're happy to pay you for it. CMAX requires people aged 45 to 85, diagnosed with moderate to severe osteoarthritis, to participate in our study at CMAX in collaboration with University of Adelaide. If eligible, you'll be required to visit us 14 times over a 12-month period. On completion, you will be paid $2,670 for your time. Interested? Call CMAX on 1800 150 433.
Is that one there? No. Oh, found one. Maybe not. Small car hiding behind the big ones. Oh, are they leaving? No, they're getting their bags out the back. I'll just do one more lap.
The worst part about shopping is you usually spend more time looking for a park than in the shops. Not at Newton Central. With access to over 500 car parks, you'll never have to do one more lap of the parking lot before you shop. Newton Central, Gorge Road, Newton.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide. Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
12 minutes to 7. We got a late entry for the Wohlers. In fact, we'll take more calls on it in the lead up to Michael Smith. But I thought I'd like just to toss this one in. Our Alberton correspondent, Dave Lloyd, says young people are so lucky they never had to experience 1997 and 98. Please don't talk about the war years, says Dave. Thank you for that, Dave.
Sadly, they missed out on the 1976 SANFL Grand Final too, Dave. That was a great day.
Senior Constable Peter Squire from Sapole joins us. Morning to you, Peter.
Good morning.
Now, there's been a robbery at Ovingham.
Yeah. So late last night, police were called to Torrens Road at Ovingham after reports of a man had been assaulted and robbed. The victim, a 56-year-old man from Renown Park, he was riding his mountain bike on Avenue Road when two men approached him and pulled him off his bike. The men assaulted the victim, and he stole his bike and backpack, and they were last seen at a block of units on Churchill Road. Western District Patrols quickly attended the scene and searched the area, and they spotted a man matching the description. There was a short foot pursuit, and a 33-year-old man from Prospect was arrested a short distance away without incident. He was charged with robbery and will appear in court later today. The second suspect, who is still outstanding, he's described as being Caucasian, 30 to 40 years old, approximately 175 centimetres tall, with a slim build, and he was wearing all black clothing. Now, the victim received minor injuries as a result of the incident. He was treated at a scene by SAS. We're just asking anyone who may have any further information that may be able to assist to please contact Crime Stoppers on 1800 333 000.
Thank you, Peter. Senior Constable Peter Squire at Sapole. Let's talk weather. Vince Rowlands is the duty forecaster at the Bureau. Morning, Vince.
Morning, guys.
This looks like it's been a pretty simple sort of 10-day period for you guys. Have we gone beyond 24 and about 29 in the last week?
Yeah, not as far as I know. So it's been pretty stable conditions, and it's all due to a high pressure ridge to our south, and that's not really changing much, particularly over the south of the state over the next week. So yeah, we are looking at very stable autumnal weather over the next 7 days. Pretty consistent, reasonably consistent temperatures. So we're sitting around 14 degrees at the moment, going for a top today of 26 degrees. A nice sunny day, so yeah, beautiful conditions across the city today. A little bit cooler if you're heading up into the hills. Mount Barker, we're going for 23, and a touch cooler around the coast with Noongar 25 and then Elizabeth top of 27 today. Not much changes over the next few days. So we've got 26 forecast again for tomorrow and then again on Friday. And at this stage, the long weekend is looking really good with 28 degrees on Saturday, 28 again on Sunday. We do drop it down a little bit on Monday as a bit of cloud comes in, 26 degrees for Monday and then 24 degrees for Tuesday. So, yeah, if you enjoy the autumn weather, then, not going to get too much better than this. But hopefully in the near future we do see some rain coming because it has been a while since we have seen a bit of rain across the state.
Fantastic. Good stuff, Vince.
Good on you,
That's
Vince.
Beach weather for the weekend.
Just about.
Yeah, 28. You can go swimming at 28. You can go swimming at 25, Will.
Yeah, you can if it's, far north Queensland.
Harden up.
Vince Rollins at the Weather Bureau. You sound like Nicole Flynn.
She said that to you once.
She
didn't
did. She did. She
Harden
said
up,
to me-
princess.
Yeah, she did. We hit it off well. That was good fun.
That was down at Brighton, wasn't it?
We were on an OB and I was freezing my
it was cold that
off.
day.
Yeah.
Well, that was, I'm not sure who was in charge of the OBs back then, but would been set up, sort of surf life-saving club at pitch darkness facing directly out to sea.
Real atmosphere builder. That's right. Now, I like this one on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line, following on from the devil's elbow example of how things in yesteryear were sort of embraced and dangerous. Gents, young people are lucky they never had to experience a total disregard for workplace safety. Yeah. That's right. Because the era that brought you, hey kids, buckle up, it's devil's elbow time, also brought you, she'll be right.
Oh, yeah.
A user guide to crane operation.
I can remember my younger sister when she was teeny. One of my earliest memories was when we had the old Commodore with the big bench seats. Not Commodore, the Kingswood. What am I saying? We had the Commodore later, but we had the Kingswood in the 70s when Beck was little. And it was my job in the back seat. And I reckon we only just got seatbelts in the car. But when she was a little baby, she would be in a wire bassinet, which is just it's like bending a coat hanger. It's like this thick wire bent into a U shape, then with a crocheted little spring holder for the baby, like a parachute sort of net, circus net or something. So she'd be sitting on the crocheted thing on the piece of wire, the bassinet, and it was my job to hold her in the back of the car as we went round corners to stop her from sliding off and landing on the floor.
How old were you?
4.
7 to 7, we're heading to the UK. Vincent Mackey will join us in just a moment. Absolutely.
You don't always have to be in a physical hospital to receive the care you need. My Home Hospital brings hospital-level care straight to you in the comfort and privacy of your own home. My Home Hospital is a wellbeing essay service and is available at no charge to eligible public patients 24 hours a day, 7 days a week across metropolitan Adelaide. Find out if you're eligible, talk to your doctor or visit myhomehospital.sa.gov.au. My Home Hospital. We bring the care to you. This message brought to you by the Government of South Australia.
For over 36 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. Steinborner is your first choice for new Hyundai and Mitsubishi in the Barossa and your first choice for Ford in Clare. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles online at steinborner.com.au. Great local deals on great local cars from your locals. Steinborner Automotive. Still well worth the trip or well worth the click.
Taking time to listen can make all the difference. Farrell & O'Neill Funerals is a South Australian family company committed to guiding and supporting families at an emotional time. We value a lifetime by offering a compassionate, caring and unique service with attention to the smallest detail. Finding guidance through a difficult time can be comforting. Farrell & O'Neill Funerals, 8296 3134.
G'day, it's Eddie May here from NRG Solar. If you've postponed your overseas trip, whether you plan to sun yourself on the deck of a cruise ship or hang out on a tropical island, you can still make the most of the sun and invest in solar panels. It's a smart move because you'll actually be getting a great return on your investment. And with the money you've saved, you'll be able to take an even better holiday. Say bon voyage to your power bills forever. Visit nrgsolar.com.au or drop into our showroom on South Road at Richmond.
Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5 minutes to 7. The Attorney General will join us after 7 o'clock to talk about the release of a report into sexual harassment in the South Australian Parliament. Some 27.1% of survey respondents said they'd experienced sexual harassment in the parliamentary workplace. It comes on the day that the expectation is that a politician in Canberra will out themselves as the person of historic rape accusations, those that will not be followed up on account of the fact the person is no longer alive that made them. But it's a lot. There's a lot to digest when it comes to the culture of Parliament in this country at the moment, and we'll start that process after 7 o'clock this morning with the Attorney General here in South Australia. You might have some thoughts. You're happy to jump into the conversation. 8223 0000. Text us on the Telstra Storm Outback text line. Let's head to the UK. Vincent McAviney joins us from London. Vincent, good morning to you.
Good morning.
So, Vincent, Prince Philip's been moved to a new hospital. What's the latest on his condition?
Yeah, that's right. Yesterday he was moved to St Bart's Hospital from the private hospital that he'd been in. We know that at some point in his stay he picked up an infection that he was struggling with, and this move is to do with that infection, but also a pre-existing heart condition which the Duke had. St Bart's is a world specialist when it comes to cardio, so they are going to look after him, we understand, for a few more days. But it is obviously worrying because we're now coming up to the 2-week mark this evening since he was actually transferred from Windsor Castle. So for someone who is 99, this is obviously quite a long time to be spending in a clinical environment.
Yes, absolutely. Vincent, is it the case that the Palace has tried to shut down this Harry and Meghan interview that they're doing with Oprah, or at least tried to put it off while Prince Philip's in hospital?
I don't think so. I think we've seen a huge backlash here, particularly from the right-wing press about this interview. Now, this interview was, we understand, filmed before, I think, the Duke actually ended up in hospital. It was planned well in advance of this, and really, you know, particularly papers like the Daily Mail and the Mail Online, who have just lost a major court case with Meghan Markle over the publication of a letter from her father that they shouldn't have done. You know, they are still reeling from this legal sort of drubbing that they got from the courts about privacy, about where the limits of privacy are now in the law. They're having to pay damages to Meghan, the cost to Meghan Markle. They're having to she's put demands that they have to run an apology, very much prominent in the paper and on their website. And so they really are just going in for the attack on them. You know, I've counted today, I think there was around 9 pieces on the Mail Online just attacking them. You know, even for silly things like, does Prince Harry not have any other suits, because they noticed that he'd re-worn a suit once or twice on occasion. So there is really a media, you know, frenzy on this. The interview has been bought for the UK rights by ITV for what's being purported around £1 million to go out next Monday night. But, you know, the BBC declined this. They're a commercial broadcaster. They're well within their rights to buy and transmit this interview. And the papers are just reeling because, frankly, you know, they've been beaten by a West Coast wellness and yoga expert who used to be an actress. You know, she has just said this isn't right. And they are just kind of going into a bit of a spin. And I think when you talk to people about this situation, you know, there was an interesting reaction I covered last week when the James Corden interview came out with Prince Harry, and people enjoyed the interview. They enjoyed his frankness. You know, he made a very valid point when James Corden asked him about The Crown. He said, you know, I think we all know The Crown is a fiction. There are grains of truth, but he says he has more problems with the British tabloid press who report things as facts that are entirely untrue and pit members of the royal family against each other. We saw this with Fergie and Diana, good princess versus bad princess. They were trying to do the same thing with Meghan Markle and Kate Middleton, and he just decided that was enough. He was pulling his family out. And there was a pretty good reaction here to that interview, but we will see on Monday night what people make of this one. We don't know the exact details. We're told that there was no question off limits. We've seen a trailer just with the questions from Oprah, which one of the questions is that things have become unbearable. So we will see on Monday exactly what they say.
Yeah, look forward to talking to you after that fact.
Story.
Yeah, it will be. Good on you, Vincent.
Thanks very much.
Vincent McAviney, our UK correspondent. It's 7 o'clock, the Attorney General of South Australia right after this.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Sunny and 26 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
FIVEaa Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. FIVEaAextra.com.
The Cabinet Minister accused of a decades-old rape is expected to make a public statement today to declare his innocence. More from Nine's Michael Packey.
New South Wales police have closed a case into an alleged sexual assault more than 30 years ago, saying there's insufficient admissible evidence to pursue the matter. The 48-year-old woman at the centre of the claims took her life last year. The rape allegations have paralysed the Morrison government. The Cabinet Minister is expected to identify himself today in a bid to clear his name. The Minister is unlikely to quit his role and there won't be further inquiries into the matter. The man is also understood to have hired a defamation lawyer.
And a new report has found sexual harassment's prevalent within state parliament. The inquiry uncovered allegations of indecent exposure and physical assault. 8 people reported sexual harassment by MPs or their staff. The inquiry has made 16 recommendations. The AstraZeneca vaccine will arrive in SA today. We can expect 20,000 initial doses from the 300,000 which arrived in the country on the weekend, while the ADF is being deployed to help in the distribution of vaccines in aged care. They'll begin working in regional and remote areas from next week. The COVID-19 Coordination Commission's Jane Hulton says other countries have taken similar action.
It's a fantastic initiative. We've seen this happen overseas, that the military are brought in to help do these vaccinations. We've got great health people in our ADF. They care for our soldiers and our people in the Navy, etc. But they're also now going to be able to use those skills in the community more broadly.
The motorcycle riding age has risen in South Australia. New laws passed through state parliament seeing the minimum age increase from 16 to 18, but 16-year-olds living in regional SA can still gain their licence if they're riding for work, education or sport. And Nissan's chief executive has blasted Australian governments for their failure to embrace electric cars. New data released by the Electric Vehicle Council shows EVs account for just 0.7% of car sales in Australia. Stephen Lester says we're out of step with leading economies and consumers are being left behind. The Crows' latest plans for new headquarters in the Parklands have crashed. The City Council voted unanimously to block any moves by the club to build their facilities in the city's backyard. Councillor Alex Hyde says the Parklands can't be used for commercial activity if there's no public benefit.
As custodians of the Parklands for all South Australians, that's really not what the council is in the business of doing. So that's why I led the motion.
Meghan Markle has handed a list of demands to the British tabloid, which a court found breached her privacy. More from Nine's Ben Avery in London.
The Duchess of Sussex won her case against the Mail on Sunday last month when a judge found the newspaper breached her privacy by publishing a letter she sent her father Thomas Markle in 2018. The 39-year-old is now demanding the publication pay some of her legal costs, publish a prominent apology and hand over any copies it has of the letter. But the Mail on Sunday has indicated it wants to appeal the ruling, arguing it would have a real prospect of success. It's another controversy for the royal family, which is already dealing with Meghan's upcoming TV interview with Oprah Winfrey and Prince Philip's extended stay in hospital.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Fluorio milk comes from local cows and it's bottled right here. Look for the local Fluorio Milk Company.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Let's start with footy. Adelaide has suffered another injury setback with defender Jake Kelly hurting his hamstring at training yesterday. The Crow stocks down back are already being tested with Daniel Talia in doubt for round 1, while Tom Duday, who's only just returned to full training after a groin injury. Meantime, Wayne Miller has spoken of the disappointment of suffering a season-ending knee injury in the trial match against Port Adelaide. The 23-year-old telling the club's website he was hoping for a better run.
Pretty disappointed, obviously, after last year, and then to get sort of through the pre-season and then play sort of a pracky match, and it to happen then was pretty flattening.
Still on football in North Melbourne, skipper Jack Zeeble says he's relishing the move from half forward to half back during the pre-season. Zeeble says the plan is to help set up their defensive structure behind the ball.
I think at half back it's going to help with, obviously we've got a younger side with a few young guys coming in. It's going to help set up our defensive structure nice and easy. I think that's one of my good strengths as a footballer, as a communicator.
To cricket, and South Australia's gone down in its opening one-day clash against WA, losing by 13 runs in Perth. Alex de Minaur is through to the round of 16 in Rotterdam after a straight sets win against fellow Aussie John Millman. Manchester City's taken a 1-0 lead about half hour into their EPL clash against Wolverhampton. And world champion Lewis Hamilton has unveiled his new Mercedes for this year's Formula One Championship. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, second year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Roadworks, Anglevale Road, Heaslip Road, Anglevale, Marion Road, Wood Street, South Plimpton, Crossroad, Bottle Terrace, Plimpton Park, and Regency Road, North South Motorway, Regency Park. There's works today. Southern Expressway, Freeway, Main North Road, and Anzac Highway, all running at speed. Is your vehicle handling the way it should? A Petters brake, steering, and suspension check for just $28 is the easiest way to make sure. Visit petters.com.au today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Make sure you and your car stay cool with aircon and cooling services. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny and 26 today, more of the same tomorrow, then partly cloudy on Friday, also 26 and tops of 28 for the weekend. At the moment, 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
Big day in Canberra on the way. The federal cabinet minister at the centre of a historic rape allegation is expected to identify himself to try and clear his name. Can he continue in cabinet after you've said you're at the centre of this?
The precedent on the other side is Bill Shorten.
Yeah.
If the minister comes out and says, as Bill Shorten did, I was the subject of historic rape allegations that were completely wrong, I reject them, and I found to be wrong, he can say I've drawn a line under it, because that's what Shorten did back in 2004.
Not going to be easy to follow in the footsteps of Bruce McAvaney. Who would you have gone with?
Well, so like about Hamish McLaughlin, he's risen to the heights he has through good honest slog.
No,
Let's head to the UK. Vincent McAvaney joins us.
So, Vincent, Prince Philip's been moved to a new hospital. What's the latest on his condition?
Yesterday he was moved to St Bart's Hospital from the private hospital that he'd been in. We know that at some point in his day he picked up an infection, but it is obviously worrying because we're now coming up to the 2-week mark this evening.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 after 7, Sean Fewster will join us after 7:30. We'll go round the courts a little bit later in the morning. Michael Smith will be on the show and we'll flash back. We've been talking a bit about the Hyson tunnels and things that the younger generation don't have to negotiate in Adelaide. You might like to add a suggestion to the mix and win yourself a $100 Waller's gift card, 8223 and in a moment we'll be speaking with Andy Lee about his new TV show. But first, let's get to what was the big story yesterday. An investigation conducted by former Acting Equal Opportunity Commissioner Emily Strickland made 16 recommendations to combat bad behaviour within the corridors of Parliament. It was headlined by a really troubling statistic. 27.1% of survey respondents reported they'd experienced sexual harassment in the parliamentary workplace. We're joined by the Attorney General, Vicky Chapman. Attorney General, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Can I start by asking you a slightly personal question, Attorney General, because you've been in politics for a long time. I think 2002 was when you first got in as a member, but you've been in politics and started your political career at a time when women were very much in the minority. How have you found the treatment of women personally in the Parliament and in politics itself?
Well, if you're asking whether I've ever been assaulted or sexually harassed, the answer is no. But
no, I wasn't trying to pry to that extent. But
in that time, I have been aware of circumstances where women have felt that there have been unwanted advances towards them, and in those circumstances have tried to support them to get advice and also get support. Sometimes the support needs to come first before they feel comfortable about taking it any further. But nevertheless, that's a very personal matter, obviously, for those who feel aggrieved in those circumstances. So, look, I think it's been clear that sexual harassment and discriminatory harassment, which is the two subjects of this recent report, are extant in every workplace, and there is a vulnerability there. And last year, as a government, we supported the move to introduce MPs, and then judges also came on board. These are two categories that were not included in the past in relation to allegations between the officers, that is MPs or judges. and change that law. So we've started a process of understanding the extent and the circumstances in which this occurs, and of course asked the Equal Opportunity Commission to prepare a report identifying when and where and how, and of course what is in place or what is not in place needs improvement to ensure that we provide a safe workplace in the Parliament House or in ministerial offices or electorate offices and in courts as the same as any other workplace.
Some of the recommendations appear to be something that will be familiar to most people in most workplaces listening right now, and that is that the Parliament needs a people in culture or HR function. It needs some sort of department or body that handles those sorts of things. Are you going to set that up?
Well, of course, the government will look at that particularly because the Treasury Office is the sort of employer in most of the circumstances that we're talking about. There's sort of three categories of people who work in parliaments. There's those who work there every day, and there are those who are employed separately as staff to members of parliament, who may not work there every day. Some do, some don't. Some visit during parliamentary sitting time.
But surely the answer is just yes, you'll set it up.
Well, clearly, there is already HR services. What's important in this recommendation is that it either be in situ at the Parliament or a dedicated central unit, at least available and known to others to be able to access that information and that support.
Can I ask Vicky Chapman, is there a broader issue here that maybe wasn't touched on in a significant way in the report? Is there a problem, not just at the state level, but at the federal level, with the hours that Parliament sits and also the ready availability of alcohol? Because it does seem that it's sort of a recipe for trouble when you've got people who stay back in the building, a lot of them, younger staffers working till, 9, 10, 11, even past midnight in some cases, when there's wine flowing. I mean, most other workplaces don't operate like that in 2021, do they?
I think you're talking about a circumstance where there's a prolonged period of isolation from the rest, and of course, in the workplace, people are thrown together for a long time. Is alcohol really a bomb being thrown into that? The Commissioner, in the Commission's report, they don't suggest that alcohol is a precipitator of assaults or harassment, but they do see that as an aggravating factor. And clearly, these are all matters, I think, which in any workplace need to be looked at. But yes, the long time that people are together, I suppose Canberra has a little more isolation than we do. Most people go home from their workplace, even if it's late at night. It's not common that we sit late at night, but even to work in the Parliament from early hours of the morning until 8, 9, 10 o'clock is of course, I suppose, raises the spectre of opportunity. But I think the important thing here is whatever the workplace, in whatever environment, the obligation to be respectful and lawful, and that includes not providing any unwanted advance or approach, is unlawful. It is really as simple as that. We've included in MP to MP and we've included in judge to judge, and we do need to make sure that is the same rules that apply across the board. No one's above the law, and so the government have been very clear. The Premier's office for this report provided its data analytics unit to do a lot of the background work after the surveys were done by the Commission. And it's important that we just acknowledge that there is a circumstance that needs to be dealt with. It's the same as any other workplace. People are entitled to go to work and be safe, and that is something that we have to aspire to ensure is paramount in the delivery of these recommendations. So as a government, there's several that look to seek for law changes and also for the central unit that you've referred to. And there are many others that relate to the Parliament, and it'll be a matter for the Parliament to consider those.
Vicky Chapman, the Attorney General, thank you very much for joining us this morning.
15 minutes after 7, let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Their Man March demo clearance is on now with huge savings and factory bonuses across the range.
Southern Expressway to South Road getting busy, similarly through the North-South Motorway, Regency Road, Waterloo Corner Road, Anglevale Road, Waterloo Corner has restrictions, and the same for Cormac Road, Johansson Road up in Wingfield. That has speed lane restrictions too. With Xero, it's easy to reconcile your transactions. It's online accounting for small business that makes bank rec so fun. It's addictive. Try Xero for free. Search XERO. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
The incessant ramping occurring at our hospitals has created mayhem for the ambulance service. The AMBOs are pleading for better working conditions, better resources, while one patient waited 88 hours for a bed.
9 till 12 weekdays.
Meantime at SA Health, the admin seem ambivalent and detached from any of this. Indeed, the CEO of Health is on over $400,000 a year, but are we getting a bang for our buck in this space?
On 5AA.
Right now, it's Toyota time. Score a great deal across a selected range of new Toyota forklifts, including electric pallet jacks and Toyota's market-leading counterbalance forklifts. Plus, take advantage of the instant asset write-off. But hurry, as time is ticking on these great forklift deals. Call 1-800-425-438 or click toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift.
Terms and conditions apply. Private buyers only. Offer ends March 31st. Who can fix the shower?
Service today.
Who can fix the power?
Service today.
Yes, we can, is what we say.
Service today.
Every time you see our bright yellow trucks in your area, we're helping out your neighbours. We can help you too. So for the best plumbing, electrical, heating and cooling work, call Service Today 24/7.
Can you fix the shower? Yes, we can.
Can you fix the power?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can, is what we say. Service Today.
Call 1300-SERVICE.
Now, of course, a lot of people have put their overseas travel plans on hold, whether it was sunning yourself on the deck of a cruise ship, escaping to a tropical island. I know you, David, you'd picked out your favourite sarong for your remote tropical island getaway.
Mate, don't knock sarongs.
No, it wasn't. It was
They're
more,
very
more
comfortable.
knocking you in a sarong.
Yes. I've actually got a sarong.
That's just what I said.
Got it in Bali many years ago. While your travel luggage is collecting dust, some new NRG solar panels could be on your roof collecting rays and significantly reducing your power bills.
So if you can't soak up the sun, get in touch with NRG Solar and take a power bill holiday instead.
And look, you'll be astounded at how much money you will save. And remember, the longer you wait, the more you stand to lose in lost rebates and savings.
So at very least, the money you save for a holiday will be going to work for you, saving you money, perhaps even enough for a better holiday than the one that you did have planned. So say bon voyage to your power bills forever and visit nrgsolar.com.au.
Summer's over, but with Mad March upon us, now's the perfect time to get into your local Vinnie shop and pick up a bargain. Now till Sunday, you'll save 30% off all clothing at all Vinnie's SA shops. Choose from a range of affordable pre-loved clothing, plus some top-name brands. And remember, shopping at Vinnie's is good for our environment, it's good for our community, and it's good for you. Find something unique at a Vinnie shop near you. vinnies.org.au/shops.
Sip and Save is kicking off footy season, and we're giving away the ultimate home theatre package valued at $10,000. Plus, catch an instant win scratch card in store with thousands of prizes to be won. Just spend $50 or more and download the Sip and Save app to enter. Continue the glory and win exclusive footy experiences. Just pick up a bottle of Wolf Glass or grab selected Jim Beam products for your chance to win. See sipandsave.com.au for terms and conditions. Start the footy season with a win. Start at Sip and Save.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
19 after 7, we'll hear from Stephen Rowe in a moment. Go round the courts after 7:30 with Sean Fuster. If you want to win $250,000, there's a brand new game show for you. It's called The Cube. It'll be on Channel 10, 7:30 tonight, and it's hosted by our next guest, Andy Lee. Andy, good morning to you.
David, Will, good morning to you.
So, Andy, I saw footage the other night of an elderly person trying to get what looked like a red rubber ball into a hole and thought, is this something from the aged care report? What's going on here? What's
the new test?
Yeah,
They all have to go through rigorous testing live on television.
So, mate, walk us through it, because this has been a huge success elsewhere, this program, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. It's mine to stuff up for Australia. But no, huge show in Britain. It's essentially a 4x4 metre Perspex cube where different skill games and memory games you have to try and make your way through for a chance to win $250,000.
Wow.
There's no safe zone, so if you're going to go for 50, you have to risk 20. If you're going to go for 100, you have to risk that 50. So that's where the pressure kind of builds. You've got 9 lives in which to do it. But, yeah, we've got a grandma that played with her grandson, and she's on tonight. And I must admit, as she kind of walked up the rise, as I introduced her, I saw Connie and I judged a book by its cover, and I was practicing my speech to say, "Oh, well done, you gave it a try, but you walked away with nothing." But she was good. She was really good. And yeah, I was kind of eating my thoughts, not my words. But yeah, she could hold her nerve and play the games really well.
How have you found that, finding the right game show tone for the disappointing moment, Andy?
I'm not great at it.
Right.
Thankfully, the guys last week they walked away at the right time. It took $50,000 away, which is kind of life changing for them. But yeah, as you may see in future episodes, when it comes down to someone who's just lost everything, I've got one trick up my sleeve, but I'm not sure if it suits it over too well.
I don't know how you deal with that, because I find it bad enough on radio if someone misses out on like a Wallace Cinema double pass to go to the movies. Like, the idea of someone's blown $50,000 or $100,000, it must be devastating for them.
It is. And the worst thing still is that you have to do the publicity shot after they've completed the game. So asking them to come back up and smile in front of the cube alongside you is a tough part of the deal. I think we're going to have to change the order of all that. But yeah, it is, and that's what makes the show nerve-wracking. I mean, seeing people risk it, go in, and once you're in the cube, there's only 2 ways out really. Where if you get through it and you win the money, or you don't get through it and you lose it all. So the tension rises, and I'd get in trouble because I want everyone to win. There's times where I'd suggest a little bit of advice or something and have produced in my ear going, "What the hell are you doing?" I was like, just because I want everyone to win.
Yeah, that's right.
We're working to a budget
You
here.
get a car, you get a car.
That's right.
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Hey, I always wonder this about things like, the set of Survivor, for example, but do you get to have a play yourself in the cube at the various tasks?
Yeah, I brought my girlfriend out a couple of days before we started filming because they wanted to test the technologies, a fair bit of technologies, and then there's 140 cameras to shoot this show to capture all the moments. If they miss a shot, the director would have to be fired. But I brought my girlfriend out. We played a bunch of the games, and even without playing for money, her and I were bickering a bit. So, I mean, we're no longer together because of it, but that's okay. No, but it does get tense. You play in pairs, so there's some games that we thought we'd be really good at, which we weren't, and then we surprised ourselves with others.
Hey, Andy, sorry to end on a bum note, but extremely sad news yesterday with the sudden death of Michael Goodings. And I saw you posted something on Instagram. You came to know him quite well. He was a colossus in music, but more importantly, a cracker of a bloke by all reports.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for bringing it up. It is a bummer, but it's also great to celebrate Michael. He'd be thrilled that we're still talking about it. But yeah, him and I became mates over the ride. Started out when Hamish and I started on the radio, and he'd ring me up and want to get the latest musical act on. He was pushing for Australian artists constantly, but then always knew the FIVEaa trade and just wanted young people to succeed in anything they're doing, particularly in the entertainment industry. So, thankfully, I got to have a beer with him just before I went up to sit in December, just before I went up to shoot the Cube, and we could trade some tales. So it was nice to have more recent memories. But yeah, Michael could get anything done, and it was impossible to say no to him, and that's why the likes of Madonna used him, Ed Sheeran, those type of people to have their tours out here, and obviously he launched Kylie Minogue's career and many others.
Yeah, no, well said, mate. Good on you. So the Cube, Channel 10, 7:30 tonight. Watch it. It sounds like it's going to be a barrel of laughs. Good on you, Andy. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Coming up to 25 minutes after 7, Stephen Rowe, a bit of a look at the sports show, thanks to North Point Toyota's used vehicle stock that it's constantly changing. Pop in, take a look. It's the North Point way. Yesterday, he caught up with Hawk legend Peter Hudson.
It was unveiled yesterday. Your first impressions, and do you think it looks like you, Pete?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I didn't think too much about it until about 48 hours before it was to be unveiled. And I thought, because a lot of people said they were going to go to it, and I started thinking, well, if it doesn't look like me, it's going to be a bit of a fizzer. But my wife and I, we had a bit of a sneak preview of it. But then I said to one of the organisers on camp on the Sunday, I said, does it look like me? And he said, yeah. He said, it really does. And that put my mind at ease.
I don't know how many pigeons are there, but I know Lee Matthews polishes his once a month. Have you got a rotation already, Peter?
Yeah. So there was a friend of mine threatened that he was going to import about 200 pigeons to give the flying start, you know. But, yeah, I think that it'll fight the pigeons off okay.
That's Peter Hudson on the new statue that's been unveiled of him. Just the 727 goals for Hawthorn, the absolute legend. Stephen Rowe, thanks to the wonderful people at North Point Toyota, the all-new hybrid Kluger's coming to North Point. Register your interest today. It is the North Point way.
If you think the only thing better than your Mazda is a new Mazda, now is the right time to upgrade to the next model in the Mazda family. It's a new year, and it's also a great time to take advantage of 2020 plate sales at Mawson Lakes Mazda. We know the only thing more exhilarating than taking a new Mazda for a test drive is taking one home. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city, Salisbury Highway.
At Southern Cross Care, we understand that your retirement needs are as individual as you. That's why we offer amazing retirement living options at a location and price to suit you and your lifestyle. Affordable one-bedroom units in Norwood, spacious villas in Mount Barker and the Florio, stunning contemporary apartments in Myrtle Bank, to fully serviced one-bedroom apartments where meals, linen and cleaning is taken care of. For more on retirement living, Google Southern Cross Care.
Womadelaide Adelaide 2021 is here. Catch artists like Midnight Oil, Sarah Blasco, Tash Sultana, Archie Roach and more. All on one stage over 4 nights in Adelaide's beautiful tree-lined King Rodney Park from Friday, March 5 to Monday, March 8. Book for one night or all 4 concerts, each with limited capacity reserved seating. Tickets are strictly limited, so make sure you don't miss out on Womadelaide Adelaide this weekend. Book your ticket now at womadelaide.com.au.
Hear this. That's the sound of iron and vitamin C mini tablets in one easy-to-swallow Ferropods capsule. That's 100 milligrams of daily iron sorted. Ferropods, your iron supplement for the day, sorted. On sale exclusively at Chemist Warehouse for $14.99.
For use when iron deficiency or iron deficiency anemia has been diagnosed by the doctor and a therapeutic iron supplement is recommended. Ferropods may help relieve fatigue associated with iron and vitamin C deficiency where dietary intake is inadequate. Always read the label. Follow the directions for use. If symptoms persist, talk to your health professional.
There's a new name in DIY, and this weekend the coffees are on us.
Instead of another ad that'll help another business, here's one that will help yours. We know business is tough right now, which is why the team at this radio station will help you get the message out that you're open for business. And with 95% of all Australians tuning in each week, radio's alive with new customers at a time you need them most. For reach that gets results, contact this station.
Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
29 after 7. Young people today will never have to negotiate devil's elbow. It's because of the Hyacinth Tunnels, and Michael Smith shortly will take us through the building the tunnels for Flashback. We thought we'd ask, what else don't young people have to put up with these days? Or will never have to experience in Adelaide. John in Walkley Heights, good morning.
Good morning.
What's yours, John?
I used to live in Athelston with my grandmother.
Mm.
We used to walk 3 miles to the Paradise tram, catch the tram to North Adelaide, to the railway station, catch a train to Port Adelaide, and then we'd have to wait for the ferry across the Port River to see her sister.
Yeah, that's a commute.
It sounds like quite a trip, John.
and then we'd reverse at about 3 o'clock and come all the way home and walk the last 3 miles. I was about 7 years old.
You must have liked your family. Good on you, John. Thank you.
Terrific.
Barbara in Marden, good morning.
I was just getting the milk out of the fridge for breakfast, and I remembered when I used to go to school, we had to drink that milk in the little bottles, and it had that thick cream on the top, and it'd been sitting in the sun all day.
But it sounds like, Barbara, I think somewhere in the order of 30 to 40% of people were permanently traumatised by having to drink that
By
milk.
that's right.
I reckon, yeah, because if you were the milk monitor and you could get the cold one, you're in business. But if you got it late and it was a little bit warm, it wasn't great.
And it was, because it was always sitting in the sun. They always left it outside. They never refrigerated it.
If it's cold, though, and it's got the cream on top, it's delicious, I reckon.
Yeah.
You don't need one warm one for it to be your memory to be tainted.
Just on the turn.
Oh,
just milk or yogurt.
Barbara, that's a great suggestion.
Come on, Barbara.
We're giving away a $100 Waller's gift card. We'll do that when we get to Michael Smith, but plenty of time for you to still call in on 8223 0000.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 26 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Kendall Bretty.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
The Federal Cabinet Minister at the centre of a historic rape allegation is expected to identify himself in a bid to clear his name. New South Wales Police have closed the case, saying there's not enough admissible evidence to proceed. The woman spoke to police in 2019, but didn't lodge a formal complaint before taking her life last year. SA Parliament's in the spotlight after a report was released yesterday detailing disturbing workplace practices. 8 people reported sexual harassment by MPs or their staff in Parliament. Further details of discriminatory behaviour on the basis of gender, race and age were also included in the report. Attorney General Vicky Chapman admits she's known about some of the instances.
Well, if you're asking whether I've ever been assaulted or sexually harassed, the answer is no. But in that time, I have been aware of circumstances where women have felt that there have been unwanted advances towards them, and in those circumstances have tried to support them to get advice and also get support.
South Australia will receive 20,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine today. The state's already received 8,000 doses of the Pfizer vaccine and expects another 4,000 in the coming days. While Oxford AstraZeneca is hoping to tweak its vaccine so it can soon deal with new variants of the virus. More from Nine's Ben Avery in London.
The head of the Oxford University Vaccine Group has revealed his team is working on a slight change to its jab which would target several variants at once. Professor Andrew Pollard says it could be offered as a single booster dose and would mean the world would not need to scramble in response to every new strain. He hopes the tweaked vaccine could be ready for use by the British autumn, which begins in September.
A 56-year-old man was assaulted and robbed at Ovingham last night. He was out riding on Avenue Road when 2 men pulled him off his mountain bike, stealing the bike and backpack. He suffered minor injuries. After a short search and pursuit, one of the suspects was arrested. The 33-year-old man from Prospect has been charged with robbery and will face court today. The second man is still on the run. New laws have passed state parliament which will put harsher restrictions on young motorcyclists. The reforms increase the minimum age from 16 to 18. Road Safety Minister Vincent Tarzia says there are some exemptions though.
So 17 if you're holding a provisional car licence, but also 16 if you're living in regional South Australia and you're travelling for education, work or sport.
Adelaide City Council's voted to stop the Crows building new headquarters in the city. Elected members voted unanimously at a special meeting to oppose any bid by the club to use the parklands for administrative facilities. Councillor Alex Hyde says the proposal had no community benefit.
Ultimately, that proposal just doesn't stack up because they weren't going to rebuild an aquatic centre or another community facility. It was ultimately just going to be a case of us handing over green space, open public space to them.
Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
Fluorio milk comes from local cows and it's bottled right here. Look for the local Fluorio Milk Company.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Adelaide has some injury concerns less than a month out from the season opener against Geelong. Jake Kelly strained his hamstring at training yesterday, while fellow defender Daniel Talia is only an outside chance to play in round one. Matt Crouch continues to train away from the main group, while Dave McKay is battling concussion issues. To cricket, and South Australia has begun its one-day cup campaign with a loss after going down by 13 runs in Perth. Chasing 370 to win, the Redbacks made a real fist of it and were 1 for 280, but crashed to be all out for 356. Meantime, Australia's forecast a number of changes for tonight's third T20 international against New Zealand in Wellington. The Aussies find themselves 2-0 down in the best-of-5 series. Assistant coach Andrew McDonald says anyone in the squad is a chance of getting an opportunity in the final 3 matches.
We've got a squad, a deep squad in terms of 18 players here, and we'd like to at the stages expose different players to different situations, and we're still picking the best team that we think can win games for Australia. So we felt as though every player that come on this tour is a live chance at the start.
To soccer, in Melbourne City has scored a 2-0 away win against Western Sydney in the A-League overnight. Wanderers defender Ziggy Gordon described their loss as the side's worst performance this season.
Belief was a big word that we used in the run-up to this game, and there wasn't enough belief. There wasn't enough belief in our defending. Obviously, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed for the boys. I know how much they care.
One other game with Central Coast beating Perth Glory 2-1, and Manchester City leads Wolverhampton 1-0 heading into the second half of their EPL clash. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 selling Honda dealer. For a new car, make them your #1 choice.
Getting busy at the Southern Expressway up to South Alifs and Alifs Road and 5 Drive. 5 Drive now onto Goodwood Road 2, approaching the roadworks, slowing down as well. North-South Motorway Regency Road busy, and Port Adelaide, Eastern Parade, Perkins Drive, boom gates are playing up. IKEA family members save $50 off your next purchase when you spend over $250 in store. This IKEA family offer ends Sunday, March 14. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Make sure you and your car stay cool with aircon and cooling services. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny and 26 today, more of the same tomorrow, then partly cloudy on Friday, also 26 and warming up for the weekend, tops of 28. At the moment, 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 minutes to 8. Sean Fuster in just a moment. Chief Court Reporter of the Advertiser will go around the courts a little bit later in the morning. You get the opportunity to win tickets to Classic Bruce, an all-out Adelaide tribute to the songs and music of Bruce Springsteen at Gluttony. Get your tickets now at fringetix.com.au. You just need to beat the music man. That's David Penberthy.
No, it's not.
David the Music Man Penberthy. If you can,
Have we got an HR department?
If you can identify the Bruce Springsteen song before he can, you get to go along. And here's the beauty of it: if you're the second caller through, and David wins, you are the Stephen Bradbury, and you get the tickets.
So I can't win.
You can.
It's a metaphor for life, this game. I'd like to thank all the listeners who were in on the ribbing as well. It's one of the things about living in Australia. You never want to show weakness. The moment you show that something is needling you, everyone's all over it like a cheap suit.
Yes.
A lot of people are texting in referring to me by my stupid and unwanted new moniker.
Well, the music man. I thought you came up with that in the meeting.
Oh, for God's sake. I wasn't even at the damn meeting.
All right, let's go around the court. Sean Fuster's on the line. Morning to you, Sean.
Good morning. David actually knows music beyond Mark of Cain.
He's very good. He's very good.
I'm really surprised. But look, I want these tickets now because Courtney Cox will be there, right? That's what happens at a Bruce Springsteen concert.
Yeah, I think she's been doing the whole tour with him.
Oh, see, I definitely want to be there now.
Hey, Sean, the NCA bombing trial continues, and one thing that has struck me with it is given how long ago this was, it must be such a harrowing process for all of these people to revisit it again, none more so than Genevieve Wallace, who gave evidence yesterday.
That's right. Well, Genevieve didn't actually give evidence. She actually visited the courtroom because, of course, yesterday was the 27th anniversary of the bombing, March 2nd, 1994. And Genevieve and her family attended court to watch as the key witness, who they call Gadget, Alan Chamberlain, was giving some evidence, and it was some pretty powerful evidence. You can imagine this is a man who is in his advanced years now. He's recalling evidence from almost 3 decades back, and he's talking about the fact that he felt like his own life was in danger after the bomb went off because he was convinced prime suspect and alleged killer Dominic Perret was responsible for this, and he'd had interactions with him. He'd even hidden his guns under the shed, according to him. And he said, I saw the news happen and I felt guilty by association. And let's be fair, you probably would.
Yeah. What's the next stage in the trial, and how much longer do you think it's going to go on for? Because it seems to be a real root and branch re-examination of everything that we've heard so far.
Yeah, it really is. What's happening is the defence is taking a tactic that's called putting the prosecution to proof, which is where they say, we don't agree any of this evidence. We don't even agree, for example, that to make up something, this piece of paper came from the cafe that Mr. Perret drank at 3 days before. That every minute detail of this must be proven beyond reasonable doubt. So the original estimate for this trial was 6 months, kicking off in October last year. With the delays and stuff we've had now, I'm going to spitball and say I reckon we're looking at an 8-month trial. And then His Honour Justice Nickerson will go away and come back with a verdict, which in itself could take several months.
Wow. 8 months. Staggering.
Yeah, it's going to turn out to be one of the longer trials in South Australia. Bodies in the barrels, I think, will always hold the record, given the sheer size, complexity, number of defendants and number of victims in that case. But this is going to, I think, tip the scales at second.
Mm. Sean, take us inside the courtroom of the trial of a couple of police officers who pled not guilty to assault of a young man whose mother thought they were actually there to help.
Yeah, this has been a really confronting one, guys. This is Andrew Journay and Sean Hobbs, 2 police officers, SA police officers who, from all understandings, are still, servicing on-duty members at the moment. The allegation is a few years back in Whyalla, they came across a young man by the name of Matthew Odgers walking home just before his curfew was due to kick in. And according to Matthew Odgers, they were very rough with him, slapped him round, grabbed him by the throat, pushed him to the ground, swore at him, belittled him. He happened to be on the phone to his mum at the time, so she heard some of it. It all got recorded, and then when mum turned up, the officers were very stringent in their denials of anything going wrong, saying things like, now, if you want to tell your mum that we expletively belted you, guess what? Go right ahead. We'll say we didn't do it. It's your choice. You want to be a big man and play with the big boys, you can play. Just remember, I ain't going anywhere, pal. I'm an old man. I'll hunt you down.
That language that was used by the police, has that been contested at all, Sean? Because if they said those things, I mean, it doesn't necessarily make them guilty of what they're accused of, but it does make them sound pretty unpleasant.
Mm.
Well, that's spot on. And the thing is, there's no contesting that evidence because it's on the tape recording.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
The question is whether there was any violent behaviour leading up to that, let's call it, loud, obnoxious behaviour, because that's what it is. But there's definite proof of that. There's multiple recordings of it. The investigating officers have gone and cleaned this up and made sure that the audio track's audible properly. And you can hear it all going on. You can say him saying things like, better get home in time for your curfew, Matthew. We'll be following you. And Matthew's mother responds, please do. We're going straight to the police station to report you for assault.
So they do look like bullies, these guys, and obviously, there's a lot that has to transpire yet in the trial. But looking at the young man that is at the centre of this, I mean, respectfully, he looks like the classic sort of 50-pound weakling from 1950s comic books. He looks like like he wouldn't hurt a fly.
Yeah, he had the misfortune of having a drug pipe in his pocket at the time. He says that he was returning that to his mate. He was on his way to the mate's house to return it, and he'd already rung his mother to say, come pick me up from there. The
old carrying a dope pipe for a friend routine.
That's right. That's the allegation there. And the other allegation is that the police believed that part of Whyalla, which is where all this happened, was a more difficult part of Whyalla. Part of the allegation that wasn't recorded is that they allegedly said to Matthew, this is the ghetto of Whyalla. So they're alleging that, they came into this with a very aggressive mindset. The mothers described them after the incident as being adrenaline pumped, these two officers.
Who conducts the prosecution? Is it a police prosecutor?
It's a government prosecutor in this case. This is a matter that's gone sort of up and down through several jurisdictions, including four-letter acronyms that we shouldn't mention, in order to determine whether or not this case should even go ahead. This was supposed to, be in before the courts back in 2013. But here we are now.
Seriously? 2013?
Seriously, it's that old. The kid in the middle of it was 17. He's 25 now.
So, and have these guys been working as police officers for the last 8 years?
They have indeed.
Yeah. So, no, I'm not. I asked the question to cast aspersions because innocent proven guilty, obviously. That said, you would like to think that if there was any suspicion of wrongdoing in this area, there's a sensitivity to it, given that these people are going to be working in and exposed to similar scenarios over the course of probably every day of their work. So you would think there'd be some desire to get this one seen to as soon as possible, surely. Is there no?
Well, that's right.
Is there no
That's
provision to fast forward these things when there's the potential for further harm if it did turn out that these guys had done something wrong and were bad eggs?
Well, not only is there a lack of potential to do that, but there's every chance that the trial won't actually finish this week, because with the way the magistrates court works, you get given a block of time, and if your trial doesn't finish in that block of time, you come back at the next available block of time to finish your trial. That could be another 3 to 6 months later.
That's ludicrous.
So if they don't get through all the evidence by Thursday afternoon, there's every chance that this trial is going to pick up and resume again later in 2021.
Wow. Sean, that's great insight.
I like pace.
Yep, appreciate your time.
Take care, guys.
Cheers, Sean.
Sean Fewster, the chief court reporter at The Advertiser.
8 years.
Amazing.
I mean, if they are guilty of these things, it's quite a long time to continue working in the profession that you may or may not be unsuited for.
Forget these guys, but imagine in any similar scenario, imagine there were people that had been found to do something wrong, and you might think that if you're wired that way, there's a pattern to continue doing that. And because of the slowness of the courts, you'd been allowed to continue to work in that area.
Well, like if you're a dodgy dentist or something like that.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Oh, we hadn't got around to it yet. But, it turns out, yes, this person knew nothing about teeth. We knew about it first in 2013, but we'll get to it.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Well, that's a management issue with the courts.
Yeah. Yeah, or who knows? Who knows? It sounds like there was a delay outside of the court as well from what Sean was saying, but we'll talk further about that when it eventually does get resolved. Let's check traffic now, thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Their Mad March demo clearance is now on, with huge savings and factory bonuses across the range.
Good morning. Boomgates are playing up this morning. Port Adelaide, Eastern Parade, Perkins Drive. Getting busy on the Southern Expressway up to South Road, A-Lifts Road and FIVEaa Drive. Plus FIVEaa Drive, once you hit there, you'll be held up towards Goodwood Road too. North-South motorway down to Regency Road is flagging. Right now, get a Ranger XLS 4x4 auto for just $48,490. Drive away. Recommended price. See Ford.com.au for T's and C's. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Summer's over, but with Mad March upon us, now's the perfect time to get into your local Vinnie shop and pick up a bargain. Now till Sunday, you'll save 30% off all clothing at all Vinnie's SA shops. Choose from a range of affordable pre-loved clothing, plus some top-name brands. And remember, shopping at Vinnie's is good for our environment, it's good for our community, and it's good for you. Find something unique at a Vinnie shop near you. vinnies.org.au/shops.
I'm just popping out.
Where to?
Nowhere, just out for a drive. Are you going somewhere?
Me? No. No.
Oh. Well, you look a bit nice, that's all.
No. Just going up to the shops to get some stuff. Oh, all right. I'm going to Jarvis Toyota for another test drive.
Okay, so am I. I'll give you a lift.
Thank you.
You know, I really like Jarvis Toyota.
Jarvis Toyota. Come for a test drive. Take home the feeling. South Road, Clovelly Park.
Now, here we go. Saturday, a bit like this commercial, is fast approaching, and this Saturday is Super Saturday at your local Cheapers Chips. What's in store, Will?
Well, for all the foodies out there, there's retro appliances like donut makers, waffle makers and more, only $33.15. Or if you have a green finger, is that the saying? Get your lawn looking good with an electric
I think it's meant to be a
lawnmower.
thumb.
Yeah, I think it's a thumb.
If you got a green finger, see your doctor.
Get your lawn looking good with an electric lawnmower from only $299.
And what about this? If you're an aspiring muso, roll-up drum kits are going half price. What is a roll-up drum kit? I don't know, but I reckon I might need one. Just $34.50. And if you're looking to get your fit on, there's 2-in-1 dancing poles. dancing poles.
Yeah.
Spin around, do the...
Entertain your friends.
I don't know. Is that the type of dancing you entertain your friends with? Depends how well you know them, I guess.
Do you own a pole or not?
The important thing, the key takeout, as they say, from this Cheap as Chips ad, is that 2-in-1 dancing poles are only $149.
Yeah, that's a lot cheaper than when I was last looking. So check out all the Super Saturday deals this Saturday at your local Cheap as Chips. Look for more specials on the back page of this week's Cheap as Chips catalogue.
There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood, it won't take long to turn your ideas into sketches, then drawings, and finally a home you can live a beautiful life in. That's the really exciting thing about building with Beechwood Homes. They'll build the home you want. So collect your thoughts, your ideas, your Pinterest boards, whatever, and let's talk. Because life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Hey, guess what I'm thinking?
Again? I guess we could make it a quickie.
Okay.
Actually, it's such a nice night. We should do it on the deck.
Yeah.
For quick and easy new twists to old family favourites, just get some pork on your fork. Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
I'm with you, my love. 9 minutes to 8. I don't know what's... The wheels have fallen off in the last couple of minutes.
They certainly have.
That's all right.
I blame Cheap as Chips for that.
We'll reassemble and reassert ourselves, and we'll progress on with the help of Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News, who joins us to talk about the weather. Actually, before we get to today and the next few days, Amelia, I understand you've managed to compile some summer weather stats for us, and good morning.
Yeah, good morning. No, we've got the latest summer stats, and I know we've been talking about, some cooler summer days, and we sort of spoke about that over the past couple of months, and you probably won't be surprised to find out that it was our coldest summer since the summer we saw in 2001, 2002. So that's almost 2 decades ago, with temperatures generally about half a degree cooler over the past 3 months. So the numbers have been crunched there. It was also Australia's wettest summer in 4 years, and that's obviously because we had that La Nina weather event at play. That's weakening now, so it'll gradually decay into autumn.
Those figures vindicate what everyone's been saying. It's
pretty much
since we got back to work in mid-Jan. It's been like, what happened to summer?
Pretty much, yeah. And again, that's just the influence of La Nina. Really, we've seen wetter than average conditions about SA's west and coastal areas, but below average, interestingly, in the east. Close to average about Adelaide and the hills. Over the city, we saw about 75 millimetres of rain over summer. But again, interestingly, it wasn't like it was a steady sort of, we didn't really accumulate that total in a steady way. We really just saw, short intensity of rainfall events, you could say, just a couple of days here and there, and that really just brought up that total. No rainfall on the way, though, this week. So I guess you could say great conditions for, Fringe Festival and all the stuff that's going on. We're going for a top of 26 degrees today. Cool mornings, though, interestingly. We saw our low of 13.7 about half an hour ago. We've got a top of 26 today, Thursday and Friday as well. And then up to 28 degrees over the weekend, 26 degrees for Adelaide Cup Day on Monday, 24 degrees on Tuesday. So good conditions to get out and about, or perhaps get the roll-up drum, or maybe that pole.
Get the pole out, exactly.
Yeah, entertain your friends.
Absolutely. Never been cheaper.
I'm not the one to help you put the wheels back on.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's right.
That last bit of conversation didn't really help either.
No.
Sorry.
Thank you, Amelia.
Good catalogue. See you guys.
Certainly is Cheap as Chips. All sorts. Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News. It is time for John Blake.
Your Majesty, ever since we installed the statue, it has been the most popular place for people to take photographs, ma'am.
Yes, I would think possibly it might be quite alarming to just suddenly see it out of the window. Very glad to see you again.
Yeah. Thank you, Your Majesty. Thank you.
Bye.
And we're out. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Your Majesty.
Oh, is it all right?
Yes, fantastic. Thank you.
All the best, Mr. Marshall.
Thank you so much for giving us the time.
Would you accept some advice?
Oh, yes, I'd be honoured, Mum.
Bring back the V8 supercars.
Oh, well, we don't...
And really, abolishing payroll tax would be a step in the right direction, wouldn't it?
Oh, but I don't, we can't,
I can't hear you.
Oh, no, great ideas, Mum. Absolutely, thank you.
Yes, we thought you'd like them. All right, well, bye.
Wait a minute, don't let her go! No, Julian, you can't come in. Julian.
I want to speak to her. She's wonderful.
Who's that?
Hello, Your Royal Highness.
No.
Sorry, Your Majesty. Queen Elizabeth II.
Better.
Loving the pink dress, Your Majesty.
Oh, thank you.
And the pearls.
What do you do?
I tell Premier Marshall here what to do. And so how's it going with Andrew, you poor thing?
No, Julian, don't...
He doesn't come round much anymore. He's too scared.
Yes, so he should be, little rat. And what do you think of Meghan and Harry doing Oprah?
Well, must be off.
Oh, good on you, Queen. Love you.
All right.
How's Philip going?
Not bad for an old codger.
I'll give him our love. Love you, Queen.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you so much, Your Majesty.
You must pop up for a drink when you're in London.
Oh, it'd be an honour, thank you.
No, not you, Mr. Marshall. Julian.
4 minutes to 8, more from John Blake after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors. I do wonder how it all wrapped up after the bit we saw and the bit that they got on beforehand. Can you hear me? Is it all working? You know, that kind of bit. The awkwardness of the Zoom call.
But it did feel like once that conversation was going that it was quite natural and flowed quite well. It must have
Absolutely.
I reckon it was one of those things where, you know, if you're the Premier or the Governor, you would have met, you know, all sorts of people and you'd become quite blasé about meeting famous people. But I think that both His Excellency, our Governor, and also the Premier would have been really nervous.
I think so.
Ahead of that.
Yeah, I wonder if they've... We might ask Stephen Marsh, has he ever been more nervous to meet anyone? I reckon that'd be the most.
He's a fan too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
He's a constitutional monarchist, isn't he? I'm pretty sure he is.
I believe he is.
Yeah.
Well, if he's miscast us, he can let us know. If we've miscast him, should I say. 4 minutes to 8. Now, I'm being told by our producer, Andy Rosion, that we need to get people on the live stream via either YouTube, 1395 5AA, or on the 5AA Facebook live stream. We watch it that way. Jump onto whatever is most convenient during this next break, because there's something that's going to be very visible, I guess. I'm not sure what's coming up, so you can watch along as we discover it right after this.
For over 36 years, Steinborner Certified Cars has always exceeded expectations on value, service and selection, and that continues. That's why it's always well worth a trip to Steinborner Certified Cars in Gawler, Nuriutpa and Clare for great deals on new and demo Hyundai, Ford and Mitsubishis, plus SA's biggest and best range of used cars. Make the trip to one of Steinborner's 8 dealerships or view the whole range of cars now at steinborner.com.au and join the thousands who know. Steinborner Certified Cars. It's well worth the trip.
G'day, it's Eddie May here from NRG Solar. If you've postponed your overseas trip, whether you plan to sun yourself on the deck of a cruise ship or hang out on a tropical island, you can still make the most of the sun and invest in solar panels. It's a smart move because you'll actually be getting a great return on your investment. And with the money you've saved, you'll be able to take an even better holiday. Say bon voyage to your power bills forever. Visit nrgsolar.com.au or drop into our showroom on South Road at Richmond.
Summer cruising is on the horizon. Phil Hoffman Travel and Princess Cruises have newly released 2022 to 23 summer cruises from Australia. With 59 unique itineraries, visit New Zealand, South Pacific, Papua New Guinea or circumnavigate Australia. Cruise return Adelaide to New Zealand on board the Grand Princess. 17 nights starting from $4,349 per person. Secure your cabin today and receive an exclusive bonus. Phil Hoffman Travel. Visit pht.com.au.
Living with osteoarthritis means living with pain, but SportsMed is changing that thanks to the revolutionary GLAD program. Here's SportsMed's Dr. Greg Keane with more.
GLAD is a 6-week exercise program performed in groups, and it continues to produce remarkable results for patients, even a year after completing the course. If you are struggling with the pain of osteoarthritis, visit SportsMed. Let's beat this.
SportsMed.
Start living life again, even with arthritis.
Sportsmed.com.au.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Minutes away. The terrible din in the background is a roll-up drum kit in action. We didn't know what they were.
We didn't realise we actually had one in the building.
Well,
This is
someone from
terrific.
Cheapest Chips must have just sent it in. We didn't know what they were in the ad, and it is literally a flat drum kit. You can see it if you jump on the
Cool.
YouTube live stream or the 5AA Facebook page.
It's got a good sort of 70s, late 70s, early 80s sort of electronica sound.
Well, give us you are the music man, so let us hear it.
I'm trying to play She's Lost Control by Joy Division. You'd know that one, wouldn't you, Will? Big Ian Curtis fan. Vision in her eyes, it turns it on. She's lost control.
Do you know this one?
Going out there with it. Turn it off.
John,
Turn it off.
Get the beat with
These drums are good. What are they at Cheapest Chips? $53?
No, they're less than
$34.
that. $34.
Best
Yeah,
comment though on the YouTube video.
Josh said, "Thank goodness it wasn't the poll they brought in."
Stick around after 8. We'll be on the poll.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to bring the poll in. I tell you what, this would be if you've
Playing
got,
you out. My own tribute to Rob Hurst.
If you've got friends with small kids and you don't like them, this is going to be a great idea.
Forget about the kids. I want for myself.
All right, well, play us out, David Penberthy.
Okay, here we
play us
go.
to the news.
Yeah, not very good, is it?
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 26 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
FIVEaa Extra is a registered NDIS provider, so let them support you in achieving your goals. FIVEaAextra.com.
The federal minister at the centre of an historic rape allegation is expected to identify himself today. More from Nine's Michael Packy.
A woman has claimed she was sexually assaulted by a cabinet minister in Sydney more than 30 years ago. New South Wales police were asked to pursue the matter in February last year, but the woman took her life before lodging a formal complaint. Police received new documentation after her death. They sought legal advice but determined there's insufficient evidence to proceed, and the matter is now closed. The PM says the minister vigorously denies the claims and won't stand down from his role.
A shocking report has found sexual harassment is rife in SA Parliament. Allegations of physical assault and indecent exposure were highlighted, as was discrimination based on gender and race. Attorney General Vicky Chapman's told 5AA Breakfast there's a clear line in the law about sexual harassment.
I think the important thing here is whatever the workplace, in whatever environment, the obligation to be respectful and lawful, and that includes not providing any unwanted advance or approach, is unlawful. It is really as simple as that. No one's above the law, and it's important that we just acknowledge that there is a circumstance that needs to be dealt with.
The Defence Force is being recruited to help keep our most vulnerable citizens safe from COVID-19. Trained doctors and nurses will be tasked with administering the jabs in aged care homes. Federal Health Minister Greg Hunt says they'll be called up in the coming days.
We're expecting the first of the ADF to commence next week, if not sooner. They are very organised. We set our best expectations and they continue to beat them, but we'll set next week as our expectation, and we're always positively surprised with the work of the ADF.
While a shipment of 20,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine is set to arrive in Adelaide today as SA Health looks to accelerate Phase 1A of the state's vaccination program. Banana crops on the coast of far north Queensland have been destroyed after gale force winds from tropical cyclone Niran rolled through. The Category 2 system remains slow moving off the coast, but is still bringing strong winds and rain. Flower farmer Robert Piccolo says he too has lost millions of dollars worth of plants.
It's going to be at least 6 months before we sort of get back onto our feet.
Mystery flights are making a comeback. Qantas has announced plans to operate 3 domestic mystery flights for travellers. They last operated in the 1990s. People won't know where they're going until they receive a boarding pass at the airport. The airline says all destinations are outside of major capital cities. The company behind Dr. Seuss is cutting sales of some of its own books, calling them hurtful and wrong. More from Nine's Michael Genovese in the US.
6 titles have been pulled from the shelves because they portray people in ways that are hurtful and wrong. That's according to Dr. Seuss Enterprises. Amongst those cancelled, If I Ran the Zoo, and the company's first children's book, And to Think That I Saw It on Mulberry Street, which was published in 1937. In it, an Asian character is portrayed wearing a conical hat and holding chopsticks eating from a bowl. The San Diego-based company says it took feedback from teachers, academics and specialists in the field.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Fluorio milk comes from local cows and it's bottled right here. Look for the local Fluorio Milk Company.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Adelaide defender Wayne Millerer has revealed he's had a stack of support after having surgery to repair his injured knee. The 23-year-old is set to miss the rest of the season, but he's told the club's website a lot of people have reached out to him.
Yeah, it's been unreal, the support, really. I've had a heap of messages from the boys, coaches, even John Olsen. He rang me up the other day, and then supporters obviously just through my social media and stuff. They've been pretty supportive.
Let's go to cricket. Sean Marsh believes young gun Cameron Green is set to feature in all 3 formats for Australia. Marsh and Green both posted centuries in their one-day win over South Australia in Perth overnight. The WA captain doesn't expect Green to be playing for his state for long.
Yeah, he's going pretty well, isn't he? I said to the boys when he came off tonight, enjoy playing with him while it lasts, because we won't be seeing too much of him after this season, I reckon.
It wasn't all bad for the Redbacks, though, with Travis Head smashing 142 off only 86 balls, while Harry Nilsson scored his first one-day century, but SA fell short by 13 runs. And Australia will take on New Zealand in Game 3 of their T20 series a little later today. To tennis, and Alex de Minaur's through to the round of 16 at Rotterdam after beating fellow Aussie John Millman in straight sets, while Oz Open semi-finalist Stefanos Tsitsipas is also through after beating Igor Gerasimov in straight sets. And in some soccer to finish, Wolverhampton has drawn level with Manchester City. Scores locked at 1-1 with about 15 minutes to play in their EPL clash. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, 2nd year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Port Adelaide, Eastern Parade, Perkins Drive, boom gates are stuck at the moment. We've also got some problems due to a burst water main at Taylors Road, Mitcham. The speed's already down to 40 k's for works in the area there. And while we're back to Port Adelaide, a smash on the Port River Expressway just involving 3 cars on the bridge towards Port Adelaide. Do you have a Bellissimo body? Then pamper it with the very best. An Australian-made Bellissimo mattress by Macon Mattresses. Nobody makes a better mattress. Nobody. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Make sure you and your car stay cool with aircon and cooling services. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny and 26 today, more of the same tomorrow, then partly cloudy on Friday, also 26 and up to 28 for Saturday and Sunday. At the moment, 14. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
Investigation conducted by former acting Equal Opportunity Commissioner Emily Strickland concluded, headlined by a really troubling statistic, 27.1% of survey respondents reported they'd experienced sexual harassment in the parliamentary workplace.
Attorney General, because you've been in politics for a long time, how have you found the treatment of women personally in the parliament and in politics itself?
In that time, I have been aware of circumstances where women have felt that they've been unwanted advanced.
What else don't young people have to put up with these days?
And I remembered when I used to go to school, we had to drink that milk.
In
the little bottles, and it had that thick cream on the top, and it'd be sitting in the sun all day.
All right, let's go around the court. Sean Fuster's on the line.
The NCA bombing trial continues.
That's right. Well, Genevieve didn't actually give evidence. She actually visited the courtroom because, of course, yesterday was the 27th anniversary of the bombing, March 2nd, 1994.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 after 8, breaking 8 in a moment. Your chance to win classic Bruce tickets by beating the Music Man. That's not too far away either. And then we'll talk about the passing, shockingly, of Michael Goodings. We'll do that after 8:30 today. Titan of the music industry. We'll discuss his legacy and the outpouring of support and tribute from some of the biggest names in music right around the world. That's coming up, but first, it's breaking at 8.
Well, peaceful protest is one of the cornerstones of democracy, but what if that protest takes a form that is itself anti-democratic and that it seeks to stop other people from holding meetings, prevent people from visiting their elected representatives, or even place so much pressure on people who hold public office that they can no longer take the pressure anymore? Well, I make all of those points because over the last week, clearly I've had quite a few conversations with Nicole Flint, who is now the outgoing member for Boothby. The Liberal MP announced on Friday night that she would not be recontesting the southern suburb seat of Boothby at the federal election scheduled for next year because, frankly, she's had a gutful. She's sick of all the abuse, the scrutiny. She's sick of all of the attacks that she's faced, both at her office there on Marion Road and also on social media. Now, there's a comment that was made to the Advertiser a few weeks ago that now sounds a lot more sinister and a lot more ominous than it did at the time, because you will recall that Nicole Flint's electoral office for the third time was attacked by the extreme climate change group Extinction Rebellion about 4 weeks ago. They surrounded her office while her staff were inside and while some constituents were inside as well, and they were banging on the doors. They defaced 9 windows with graffiti. The staff were terrified, and after that attack, a spokeswoman for Extinction Rebellion SA by the name of Anna Slynn had this to say: "Her feeling intimidated and harassed is something we're willing to risk for the sake of the planet." Now, since Nicole Flint said she was going to quit, I've spoken to a number of people in politics, and by politics I mean federal politics, state politics, and also importantly local government, because there's been instances where this group, Extinction Rebellion, has been hitting up councils, contacting them and saying, these are our list of demands, you have to comply with all of them. And councils, in many cases, have written even-handed responses saying, look, we've actually got like carbon emission strategies, we're changing our recycling, we're using less water, we're doing all of these things. So we have got policies in place. And then it becomes a question of, well, actually, that's not really what we're after. You have to move a motion declaring that the world is facing a climate emergency. And when councils say, well, thanks, but that's not really our cup of tea, we're more interested in practical solutions, meetings have been disrupted where they've turned up, chanting, shouting, carrying on, and, you know, really turning everything into a dysfunctional mess. So against these type of tactics, particularly when you've got people boasting that they're quite happy to make people feel intimidated and harassed, there's a hardening of thought among people in politics that this type of strong-arm Stalinist stuff is drifting beyond peaceful protest and into a form of menace that arguably could rightly attract the interest of police. So watch this space, because the tactics that this group use have clearly taken their toll on Nicole Flint. And, you know, we live in a world where not that long ago, people used to get voted out of office. It now appears that they can be hounded out. And if we want to tolerate that as being acceptable, then it really does change the complexion of democracy, doesn't it? Hell of a quote, that.
It certainly is. Those people are enough to drive people that are pro-environment to burn rubber tyres, aren't they?
Oh, I totally believe in climate change, and I think we need to act. But I see people like that, and I just feel like buying a HR Holden that runs on leaded petrol.
Yeah.
And leaving it idling in the middle of a national park while I smoke a packet of cigarettes.
I don't think they don't. I don't know that, and I think they don't care. I think these are glory hunters that want to be the story at all times.
Oh yeah, they've got a.
It attracts the kind of person that just they want to be on the news.
Well, it's a form of like. It's a form of romantic revolutionary activity, and the reality is if you live in a country like Australia, I mean, it's not like you can really join the Sandinistas. You know, it's not like we have...
That's right.
You can't become like a Latin American-style Marxist guerrilla and have the red and black bandana and, you know, genuine, exciting Che Guevara-style stuff. So this is the next best thing, running around outside an electoral office in Clovelly Park.
Harassing women.
Yeah.
Like heroes. All right, it's 14 after 8. Let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Their Mad March demo clearance is on now with huge savings and factory bonuses across the range.
A couple of smashes on the go this morning. Eldersmith Road, Mawson Lakes, which is also starting to affect Main North Road as well. The North-South Motorway, very heavy down towards Regency Road, Citybound, and a smash on the Port River Expressway, Eastern Parade, Gilman. You got a burst water main, Taylors Road, Mitcham, which isn't really causing any trouble as yet, but it will do. With Post Bill Pay from Australia Post, you can conveniently pay all kinds of bills in one place. Visit your local post office today. Additional fees and limits may apply. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowies Sport Show.
Craig Foster, former Socceroos captain, he said sport can no longer stand on the sidelines. Should sports stars speak up about social issues? Sport for me is exactly this. It's a pure pastime. It's entertainment. It's leisure time.
4 p.m. weekdays.
If you speak up about social issues, you need to truly believe it and have a thick skin. I say, shut up and dribble.
Rowies Sport Show on 5AA.
One of the best joys in life is good food, especially when it's delicious, nutritious, and made with love. This is what we specialise in at Nonna's Cucina, with our chefs preparing meals for you to enjoy 7 days a week, delivered to you Mondays to Fridays between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. A variety of meals are available for everyone, and if you're over 65, you may be eligible for a government subsidy. For menu options and delivery, visit nonnascucina.com.au. Made with love, shared with joy.
Adelaide's newest Skoda showroom launches with its newest release. Visit the all-new Java Skoda West Terrace in the city for the Skoda Kamiq, a city-size SUV that's compact on the outside and curiously roomy on the inside. Kamiq features wireless phone charging, lane and blind spot assist and more, earning it the title of News Corp Car of the Year and a suitably compact price from $29,990. Visit Adelaide's newest Skoda showroom, Java Skoda, 193 West Terrace in the city. MVD 285011.
The Womadelaide Adelaide is back from this Friday through to Monday. It's a revamped version just for this year with one stage and 4 sunset concerts in King Rodney Park. There's an incredible lineup across 4 nights. Midnight Oil, Archie Roach, Sarah Blasco, Tash Sultana, Vicar and Linda.
Yeah, you got it. Well
yes! Lior!
Only taken you 4 goes.
With the Adelaide Symphony and more.
Now, the other week you would have heard our great interview with Rob Hurst, Midnight Oil's drummer. One of my biggest inspirations. He sounded excited to be heading to WOMAD this year, and why not, with that fabulous lineup. The great thing about WOMAD, you can sort of dip in and dip out, or you can go the whole hog. You can go for one night or all 4. I love it. My favourite event on Adelaide's cultural calendar, and absolute highlight of the year here in SA.
It's hard not to love Adelaide's festival season, and Womadelaide really is the jewel in the crown.
Plus, the weather is looking great. Tickets are selling fast. Get your Womadelaide tickets right now at womadelaide.com.au.
You don't always have to be in a physical hospital to receive the care you need. My Home Hospital brings hospital-level care straight to you, in the comfort and privacy of your own home. My Home Hospital is a wellbeing SA service and is available at no charge to eligible public patients 24 hours a day, 7 days a week across metropolitan Adelaide. Find out if you're eligible, talk to your doctor or visit myhomehospital.sa.gov.au. My Home Hospital. We bring the care to you. This message brought to you by the Government of South Australia.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
18 minutes after 8. We've been talking about it all morning. Flashback has been the inspiration for a $100 Walrus gift card giveaway. We're asking you to nominate the not-so-nice things about living here in Adelaide, or indeed your childhood, or maybe adulthood, that the young people today won't have to experience. We started out, of course, talking about Devil's Elbow and the Hyson tunnels that meant it was no longer an issue, and that's because that's the subject of Michael Smith's 7 News Flashback segment tonight. Morning to you, Michael.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, Music Man. Yes, there's a whole generation that has never known the thrill/fear of trying to negotiate devil's elbow with a semi-trailer bearing down behind you, because this Friday, can you believe it, is the 21st birthday of the Hyson Tunnels. Where have those 2 decades gone?
I must admit, it feels like whenever I drive through it, I regard it as very new. It feels like it's only been there for a little while.
I agree.
Two decades. Amazing.
And to think that before that, the Old Mount Barker Road had the highest accident rate of any section of National Highway. So this was a project with a long time coming. It was long overdue. When you think about it, really good value for money, though. The Adelaide Oval renovation, for instance, cost $550 million. With the Hyson Tunnels project, we've got the tunnels, 10 k's of freeway plus 3 interchanges for $151 million.
That is a bargain.
Really sort of, created a new gateway for Adelaide. It certainly opened up the hills. Luigi Rossi was the project manager. He says it was pretty tricky, though, building a freeway through really steep terrain.
We had to shift some 2 million cubic metres of rock in very challenging terrain. We've got to remember that some of the earthworks are 50 metres in height and 50 metres in cut. So the earthworks itself was a significant engineering undertaking.
You mentioned 2 million cubic metres there. They measured it in those days by saying that was enough to fill Footy Park 55 times over. It really was a huge project.
Will made the good point before, Michael, that it seems kind of weird that we would endure a stretch of road for so long that was clearly treacherous, but would even go the extra yard of giving it a name that almost celebrated the fact that it was a death trap.
Well, exactly right. You listen to the traffic reports on 5AA on those days, and it was almost every other day that a truck came to grief if it wasn't at Devil's Elbow on one of the other bends between there and, say, Eagle on the Hill. And do you remember the setup there used to be at Eagle on the Hill? There were big service stations up there in the pub. It was really like a little small community up there, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a Shell service station from memory. Yeah, it's massive.
Good on you, Michael.
On one side, BP on the other. Yeah, see you tonight, guys. Thanks.
Looking forward to it. Michael Smith from 7 News. It's a terrific flashback because it's inspired a wonderful bowlers for us this morning. Andrew in Craigmore, good morning.
G'day, guys. Just before I say what I want to say, I reckon that was almost a rite of passage when you first got your licence. You had your old car, no disc brakes,
no power steering?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. No power steering and a clunky old manual gearbox, man. Well, I reckon I'm still picking out my jock from me toy after the first one I did. What I want to say, though, back in the old days, mate, the old soap in the mouth, getting your tongue washed. Could you imagine doing that to a kid these days?
No.
Bad language.
And
wash your mouth out with soap.
Yeah, Andrew, thank you. Vanessa in Glengarry, what's your thing that young people today that don't have to experience that you may have had to previously in Adelaide that was a bit nasty?
Well, when I was a child in primary school, I went to a Catholic school, and it was a very sombre occasion when the nuns actually passed away. And that in the chapel, the school chapel, they'd have an open casket and they'd line us up in single file and make us walk past the coffin and say a little prayer. So, yeah.
So his Sister Mary, your former music teacher?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Oh,
that's pretty bracing.
Yeah, that's extraordinary.
People still have viewings, but it's
usually they're very private.
Well, it's completely optional because some people find it very cathartic and healing. Others just find the whole thing completely repulsive.
Mark in Lewiston, good morning.
Morning, guys. Okay, let's go way back. I'm not going to tell you how old I am, but let's go way back. And most houses today have got 2 of them. Some have got 3. The 25-metre, 30-metre dash to the outside loo. And there's only one of them. There's no light sometimes. And yesterday's newspaper, and away you go.
That's
character building.
Yeah. I reckon, explain that to people in high school today. That's only a generation ago.
It's not still houses with outside dunnings.
It's not that long ago that it was totally... It was just the normal... We're not talking 100 years ago. We're talking your grandparents.
Yeah.
If you're in high school today, probably.
Totally.
Guy in Glenelg North, good morning.
Yeah, good on, lads. How are you going?
Good
thanks, mine dates back to driving. Mum used to drive us to school down Tuppers Hill Road. Mum taught her the manual. Here's one for you, Will. My mum was actually matron of honour in Margaret Ames's wedding.
Is that
many years ago.
right? Margaret Ames was still teaching there when I was there.
Yes, she won a Tennyson medal, and my mum won the Montgomery medal the following year.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, going down Tuffley's Hill Road, it used to be single lane both ways, and my mum used to pass cars going there as well.
Oh, really?
Yep. No accidents. I don't know how it ever happened, but these days you couldn't get away with that now.
No, exactly.
No, you certainly couldn't. Good on you, Guy. Thank you. We might fit in one more. Dean on the mobile, good morning.
Hey, good on you, guys. Years ago, we'll go back to, I was a school child in 1958, 57, 58. The old dentist used to come to town to do the kids. He had a Singer sewing machine and a steel pedal to run the old thing, crank the old drill up, and you'd be next in line, and it'd be like before going to the gallows. You'd be waiting.
I think I might have preferred the gallows. That's
geez.
my night. Any dentistry-related stuff, I can't.
I reckon the
It
scariest scene in a movie.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Marathon Man.
Yeah.
Sir Laurence Olivier as the Nazi dentist operating on Dustin
I don't
Hoffman.
know what it is about teeth. It's just...
Oh, no. I'm with you.
it's something-
100%. Finally, we agree on something.
25 after 8. Who gets the $100 Woolworths gift card?
Oh, jeez. Jenny.
All right. Jenny.
She had a three-way ambit claim. The cane, hitchhiking, and hard work.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yes.
Good on you, Jenny. 25 after 8. Get calling now on 8223 0055 if you want to try and beat the Music Man and win tickets to see Classic Bruce at Gluttony. 8223 0055.
Want real work where you can grow your savings and also help the community? Want real experience? Something great for your resume and also your life? Jobs are available now in regional SA with incentives of up to $6,000. See the real opportunities across agriculture, tourism and hospitality. Apply now at regionalwork.sa.gov.au. Real work. Real experience. A message from the Government of South Australia.
Last year was very tough, and this year remains full of unknowns. But what is certain is there's help for people who need it. If you're in financial difficulty, don't tough it out on your own. Talk to your bank. There's help with home loan repayments, small business recovery loans, help with credit card repayments, credit rating protection, increased customer support, and special assistance for those in financial hardship. Your bank will help you find a way through.
Have you found yourself often asking people to repeat what they've just said because you're having trouble hearing them? Well, there could be a larger problem at play. Today is officially World Hearing Day, so it's the perfect reminder to do something about it now and get hearing healthy. Hearing loss can be linked to other health issues like dementia, which is even more reason to have a regular health hearing check. The people to see about your hearing at Audica, they specialise in personal hearing health that's tailored to you. And free hearing health checks are available to adults aged 26 and over. With hundreds of local hearing clinics across the country, there's an Audica clinic close to you. Visit audica.com.au, that's AUDIKA.com.au to book your free hearing health check. Be hearing healthy with Audica.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive of Western Hospital at Henley Beach. Western is proud to be piloting a short-stay, no out-of-pocket joint replacement program, allowing eligible surgeries for eligible health fund members to pay no gaps to surgeons, anaesthetists or the hospital. All patients are assessed for suitability by the surgeon, and where possible, you'll be encouraged to discharge early with home care rehabilitation. It's just another great offering from Western Hospital, your hospital that cares. Visit westernhospital.com.au.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
When you talk to your local Nissan fleet manager, you'll hear this. That's the sound of us listening. It's what we do. Visit your local Nissan dealer or search Nissan Fleet today.
5AA Breakfast. David, the Music Man Penberthy, and Will Goodings.
Oh, no. The Music Man Penberthy. I think
it's really starting to wear extremely thin.
Peter in Greenock is the first caller through, which means it's Peter v. the Music Man for the tickets. Classic Bruce playing at Gluttony. You can get tickets at fringetix.com.au. Morning to you, Peter.
Yeah, hi, Will. How are you?
I'm good. How are you feeling about your chances against the Music Man?
Well, he's formidable. So,
He is formidable.
No, not really.
You're right.
It's the song that I know.
How's life in Greenock, mate? What a great spot to live.
It's a fantastic place, Penberthy. We've got cellar doors everywhere.
Oh, no, you just I might go down to Sepulchre, get some Vermentino, maybe I'll head east and go to Willows and get some of their cracking Riesling. You don't need a bottle shop.
Steve in Valley View is the Bradbury, so if David, the Music Man, Penberthy, gets it right, Steve will win the tickets to see Classic Bruce. But Peter, you've got 5 seconds grace before David will jump in.
Okay.
You just need to shout out the name of the song. Here we go.
Well, they blew up the chicken man in Philly last night. Now they blew up his house too. Down on the
It's Atlantic City.
Sorry,
on
Peter.
Nebraska. Sorry, mate.
That's my favourite Bruce Springsteen song. That one. I love that
Same.
song. Bad luck,
Pretty
Peter.
obscure though, Peter.
That was a tough one. It does mean though that
Stephen Bradbury of Australia crossed the line.
Steve in Valley View, the Bradbury this morning. Congratulations, you're off to see Classic Bruce.
Great. Thank you very much.
Good on you, Steve. Did you know that song, mate?
Yeah, I did. I'm a big fan.
Cracker, isn't it?
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Underrated record, Nebraska. Great record.
Yes.
All right.
I might see you there, mate.
Oh, I hope so.
I've got to pay my own way, of course. But,
That's one for the Music Man. You're on the board this week. Classic Bruce and All Out Adelaide tribute to the songs and music of Bruce Springsteen. It's on at Gluttony. Get your tickets now at fringetix.com.au. And I'm glad we get to play that bit of Bradbury audio. That's the American call of Bradbury winning the race, which we get to the Australian one often, but that's the Americans just totally exasperated.
You know what's really good to do? If you've got kids under the age of 15, show them the YouTube video of that. Because if you've never seen it before... I showed it to my kids last year. They'll go, did that even really happen?
Yeah,
it is the funniest thing ever.
It is. It's one of the greatest stories in the history of sport.
Yep.
And now it means that someone who didn't even contest can win,
Yep.
which is, there's something really Australian about that. Behind closed doors and more coming up after 5AA News.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Sunny and 26 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Kendall Brattig.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations, physioextra.com.
A federal cabinet minister's preparing to declare his innocence over an historical rape allegation. New South Wales police have closed their investigation into the matter, citing a lack of admissible evidence. The man at the centre of the claims is unlikely to stand down from his role, and there's not likely to be an independent inquiry. But his colleague Barnaby Joyce says there should be.
I imagine a proper process would involve the competent attributes of the person doing the investigation, a former High Court judge or something of that level, and it should be in camera.
A confronting report's been released into behaviour in state parliament. The Equal Opportunity Commission report contains disturbing details of sexual harassment by MPs and staff, as well as discriminatory behaviour on the basis of gender, race and age. Deputy Opposition Leader Susan Close says clearly it's unacceptable.
The allegations are incredibly serious and absolutely sobering for anyone who works in Parliament House. We need to see action immediately, and we want to get on and get some work done so that we can make this a safe place to work.
The state's vaccination program is set to ramp up today. 20,000 doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine are due to arrive. They'll be deployed to frontline workers in regional areas from Monday. And the international border ban in Australia has been extended till June. The federal government's announced the extension, citing more transmissible variants of COVID-19 overseas. Adelaide City Council has blocked a move by the Crows to build new club headquarters in the Parklands. Elected members voted unanimously against the move, but Councillor Alex Hyde says they're not opposed to the Parklands being used for training.
These are the parameters of the discussion. This is what we're ruling out now. If you want to still use an oval for training and locate your headquarters somewhere else, still open to that.
The director of the FBI says the Bureau sees the siege on the US Capitol building as an act of domestic terrorism. Christopher Wray has been giving evidence at an inquiry into the insurrection, which resulted in the deaths of 5 people. He says detectives are actively pursuing those who carried out the attack.
That siege was criminal behaviour, plain and simple, and it's behaviour that we, the FBI, view as domestic terrorism. It's got no place in our democracy, and tolerating it would make a mockery of our nation's rule of law.
The US has announced sanctions on Russian officials and businesses over the near-fatal poisoning of Kremlin critic Alexei Navalny. Senior administration officials say intelligence has found the Russian government was behind the nerve agent attack. And the wife of the late Michael Goodings has accepted the offer of a state funeral for the music industry legend. Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews says details are yet to be finalised.
It'll be a celebration of his life. The details will be finalised in coming days. But I think it's fair to say that it's got to be COVID safe, of course, but I think we'll be able to come together in an iconic venue and we'll be able to celebrate his life and the mark that he made and the legacy he leaves.
Now turning to FIVEaa Sport.
Fluorio milk comes from local cows and it's bottled right here. Look for the local Fluorio Milk Company.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Adelaide could be without defender Jake Kelly for the start of the season after injuring his hamstring in yesterday's training session at West Lakes. Fellow defender Daniel Talia is battling to start the season as he recovers from a knee injury. To cricket, and Dave Warner's preparing to return from a groin injury in tomorrow's one-day match for New South Wales against South Australia. He says he's got no intentions of giving up the short-form format at international level.
I'm not thinking of that end date at all. For me, it's about the 2023 World Cup is where I would like to get to. We've got a good foundation there with the white ball team that we've got a good opportunity to play that and win in India.
Meantime, SA has lost by 13 runs in its opening one-day clash against WA. To netball, the Aussie Diamonds have lost their opening match in the Constellation Cup Series against New Zealand after going down 49-44 in Christchurch. Captain Caitlin Bassett says both sides looked a little rusty.
I think you could see both teams haven't been out there on court for a while against each other. We've obviously got a little bit of work to do and a bit of footage to look out before our next game.
One match in the English Premier League this morning with Manchester City's incredible winning streak in all competitions extended to 21 matches. That was after a 4-1 win over Wolverhampton. And the Socceroos' March 30 World Cup qualifier against Nepal has been postponed due to travel restrictions around COVID-19. Games against Kuwait, Chinese Taipei and Jordan will now be played between May 31 and June 15. And that's the FIVEaa Sport.
Now checking FIVEaa traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 selling Honda dealer. For a new car, make them your #1 choice.
Big delays both ways up in Mawson Lakes at Elder Smith Road due to a smash at Main Street, Gilman. Port River Expressway, Eastern Parade has a 3-car smash in Gilman, and that's causing delays up there as well. Torrens Road, debris on the road from a minor accident, Renown Park, and Taylor's Road in Mitcham, a burst water main with the speed reduced. Don't have Foxtel, the world's best sports and entertainment is on sale now. Sport, drama, movies and Netflix all in one place. Get it now. Search Foxtel or call 131787. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on FIVEaa.
Make sure you and your car stay cool with aircon and cooling services. Call 1300 Automasters.
Sunny and 26 today, more of the same tomorrow, then partly cloudy on Friday, 26, and warmer for the weekend, tops of 28. At the moment, 16. More news as it happens on FIVEaa.
Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to FIVEaa Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 minutes to 9. We've got Behind Closed Doors coming up in just a moment.
Well, the music world was rocked yesterday with the news, the very sad news of the sudden death of Michael Goodings at the age of just 68. Michael was synonymous with so many of the biggest names in music, but I think that for all of the coverage that he's received, and, you know, we've seen photos of him this morning posing up with Sting and the Police and Madonna on her 1993, I think it was, Blonde Ambition tour. The great thing about Michael Goodings was that you're more likely to find him at the Melbourne equivalent of a pub like our own Governor Hindmarsh, looking at the new up-and-coming band. And there are so many bands that became big because Michael was always out there, at gigs and at, smoke-filled bars looking for the next big thing. One man who knew him particularly well was one of Australia's longest-serving newspaper editors. He edited Melbourne's Sunday Herald Sun newspaper for many years. Alan Howe joins us on the line now, and I should also say Alan is something of a music historian. Alan, good morning, mate. Great to be talking to you again.
Yeah, great to hear from you, Penbo.
So, Howie, tell us about Michael as a bloke, because you knew him particularly well, and I would imagine, particularly, I deliberately mentioned you editing the Sunday Herald Sun. Obviously, newspapers do a lot with their music supplements and so on. He would have always been pestering you saying, you got to listen to these guys, they're, up and coming, and here's a great picture story for you for page 3 or page 5. He was a passionate bloke, wasn't he?
He was, and about many things and not just music. But if you ever went round to Michael's office at Mushroom, you had to. He'd meet you at the door possibly, and the race was on because he'd launched himself at the spiral staircase and was up in the split second, and you had to follow him. And it didn't matter what you'd gone there to speak to Michael about. He'd play you about 10 songs anyway, each of which was equivalent of the first Beatles single. And he just had a great enthusiasm for it, and he wasn't making it up. He wasn't a salesman, although he was a businessman. He just had a genuine enthusiasm for it. And I'd bump into Michael, anywhere around Melbourne and elsewhere, at very small venues, and he'd go to 3 or 4 a night, and always had the energy for it.
Yeah.
I never sort of like ever sleep. He was just an intensive ball of energy. And his enthusiasm was absolutely genuine. And I think there's one, and also, we did a few fundraisers at the Sunday Herald Sun over the years. One for the Beslan School after the Chechen rebels killed so many kids and teachers there. And I organised at the Mine Music Bowl with a lot of help from Michael because I didn't know what I was doing. And he came along. He provided artists for free, one of which was his daughter, who, by the way, turned 33 yesterday. And at the end of the day, he comes over with a big cheque from the Goodings family. That's the sort of bloke he was.
Mm. Was it that enthusiasm, for that genuine, unbridled enthusiasm, Alan, that you think endeared himself to the artists in a way that, sometimes it's an antagonistic relationship that the labels have with artists, but it seems to be pure affection in his case.
There was. A few artists fell by the wayside, but then again, he stood by artists like Paul Kelly for many years before, I'm sure, Kelly made any money for anybody, including himself. And the thing about Michael was a lot of people sort of tend to think, he had these big acts. He had, Kylie, it was a safe bet. And after the band broke up, Cold Chisel, Barnesy was a safe bet. And they probably were. A lot of people couldn't see Kylie working, and one of which was him for a while. But he thought her TV-based in the UK would be enough, and it proved to be. But that's not how the company was established nor built. Nobody in 1974, no one thought that a band called Skyhawks with a lead singer was a bloke called Shirley, and this eccentric, lanky guy at the back called McCain, who wrote odd songs about Melbourne suburbs. No one thought that was a safe bet. And if anyone had, they'd have signed them. Only one person did sign them. And equally Split Ends. Split Ends came to live in Melbourne in 1975. Their first couple of albums, Pembo, I'm sure you've got them and played them regularly, but they were really quite eccentric. They were strange songs with weird time changes that went for 7 minutes. None of them were. You hear none of them on radio today, and you heard none of them on radio back then. It took them 5 years and 5 albums to have a hit single.
Yeah, you're right, and I think Paul Kelly's a good example because he had probably 5 albums or maybe more before he actually had a breakthrough hit.
Yeah, 5 albums, one of which was a double. Very expensive thing to produce.
Post,
but that's
wasn't
just
it?
how Michael was.
Post, that record called Post.
Yeah. We're back when he was Paul Kelly and the Coloured Girls, I think.
Yeah, and the Dots, and had several different backing bands. There's talk, Alan, that he's going to get a state funeral. He probably will one. He deserves one. He's a great Victorian.
Yeah, they're arranging it at the moment, and I think that's a very good thing. I think Michael would have preferred, and maybe he'll get this as well, something much more casual and involving a lot more music at a venue once we're over this COVID-19 bit, like the MCG. Michael filled that a few times. I think I was there for most of the times that he did so, it'll be a wonderful send-off to see that. The formality of a state funeral is also, that's quite right. And, you'd like to think a lot of people, some of whom have had a crack at Michael over the years, because he made a lot of money out of music. But that's because he made a lot of careers for people. He was the first person I ever found, and I was in music in the 70s myself here, but the first person who put a business plan to rock and roll.
Yeah, absolutely. Great tribute, Howie. Thanks so much for joining us, mate, and we'll catch up soon.
Good to speak, Penbo. Bye, mate.
Great bloke, Alan Howe. Terrific editor, and a passionate Victorian too. But yeah, you think that whatever they do with the funeral, that hopefully there'll be a good concert to go with it as well.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? They shouldn't have any issue attracting the axe.
Yeah.
16 to 9. It's time to check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Their Mad March demo clearance is on now with huge savings and factory bonuses right across the range.
Heavy delays Elder Smith Road, Mawson Lakes between Main North Road and Salisbury Highway due to a two-car smash. Other delays for a smash up in Gilman on the Port River Expressway near Eastern Parade involving 3 cars. Torrens Road, debris on the road from an earlier accident in Renown Park, and Taylor's Road, a burst water main in Mitcham with a speed down to 40. Right now at Snooze, Velocity members save up to 40% off regular prices, and for 1 week only earn double Velocity points. Visit Snooze today. Exclusions, T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Australia's best fantasy footy game, KFC Supercoach AFL, is back. And there's 50 grand in cash up for grabs. That's 50,000 reasons to win. Register today at supercoach.com.au. Conditions apply. ACT permit number TP21/00040.
No one wants to spend their weekend in emergency. So if you hurt yourself on a Saturday or Sunday, Dr. Greg Keane says come and see SportsMed instead.
The doctors at our weekend injury clinic can treat any sporting or orthopaedic injuries right away. You won't have to wait all afternoon.
And a standard consult costs less than a private hospital emergency department, right?
Much less.
World-class care without the wait. SportsMed.
Start living life again after your injury.
sportsmed.com.au.
Now, I've heard people are offering more money just to secure a house at the moment, with the rental squeeze being what it is. Well, the good news is that our mates at Toop and Toop, they're giving tips for people out there trying to get into a rental home but competing with hundreds of others.
They say you should go to the very first open inspection because properties are leasing after just one viewing, so there is no second chance.
And look, it pays to make sure you put your best foot forward when inspecting the property. Check all the information on the application form is complete and relevant paperwork is attached.
Also, they said don't forget to list all of the people who are going to live in the house, and if you have pets, just be upfront and honest about it. Are you having trouble finding a rental property? Well, sign up at www.toop.com.au/registration and be the first to receive alerts for properties as soon as they go online.
Adelaide's newest Skoda showroom launches with its newest release. Visit the all-new Java Skoda West Terrace in the city for the Skoda Kameek, a city-sized SUV that's compact on the outside and curiously roomy on the inside. Kameek features wireless phone charging, lane and blind spot assist and more, earning it the title of News Corp Car of the Year and a suitably compact price from $29,990. Visit Adelaide's newest Skoda showroom, Java Skoda, 193 West Terrace in the city. MVD 285011.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide. Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
30 minutes to 9. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 131364. It's time to go behind closed doors.
And when we get behind closed...
And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Dave Potter, Australia's #1 Honda dealer, second year running. DavePotterHonda.com.au.
Very slow and patchy South Road both ways between Henley Beach Road and South Road and Anzac Highway. Fairfield, Mine North Road, very slow moving away from the city. Port Wakefield Road and Ingleville Road. Looks pretty good for the Anzac Highway, the freeway. Plenty of traffic out there, but it's moving well, which is how we say it in Melbourne. I'm glad I didn't have to say Glenelg or Keswick or Greenock, and I'm also glad I didn't have to say Horton or the Barton or Malala or Norriopta or Floreal. Join great health clubs now and get 20% off select membership plus a $0 joining fee. Hurry, offer ends March 28th. Visit greathealth.com.au. Adelaide's most you're in traffic on 5AA.
Mostly sunny and 25, then...
Oh, they know their gulwars, those Victorians. don't they?
Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, Interstate Freight, Distribution, Warehousing and Local Adelaide Couriers. Call Aussie Fast 131364.
You will remember our Breaking 8 from a couple of weeks ago about the stink between two local Adelaide soccer clubs. A story in the Tiser this morning that confirms that the complaint is well and truly underway and that an investigation is looking into this. This is the piece by Daniela Abrachavento. A soccer club is pursuing criminal charges over an all-in brawl, claiming one of its players was viciously assaulted and suffered, quote, a sickening head injury during a pre-season Sunday match. South Australian Amateur Soccer League has launched an investigation into the alleged on-field brawl that resulted in two people being injured. A SAPOL spokeswoman confirmed that police were called to the match between Adelaide Croatia Vukovic and Gan Kilburn City at Parafield Gardens Soccer Club on February 21 after reports of a large fight. Now, Adelaide Croatia, this is, as we said in Breaking at 8, on their Facebook page, they say that one of their players was viciously assaulted, sustained a sickening head injury. The player was taken to hospital but is now recovering at home. And it says here, the club will be pursuing criminal charges. Both the clubs have been kicked out of the competition for now, pending the inquiry. The match itself was called off. Apparently the fight happened after Garn had scored, and it was when they were trying to get the ball back to the centre. Just turned into this all-in stink.
Often that'll happen when someone goes to pick it out of the net and they get slapped out of their hand. You see it at all levels.
Yeah.
And this obviously devolved into something more serious.
It is ridiculous, isn't it?
It's good the way they dealt with it, because this is the only way these people that part of these clubs stamp out the behaviour is when the whole club gets punished. It always works. Works in amateur footy all the time.
Yeah.
Make it incumbent on the clubs to get rid of the bad eggs.
Yeah.
Bad apples, should I say. Don't worry. Don't make it on the league.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Yeah, that's a good way of handling it. 9 minutes to 9. We got another $100 Waller's gift card to give away. Follows on from something we actually discussed in the early breakfast this morning, David, about the concept of they don't make them like they used to. What's the thing that they don't make like they used to? And the inspiration for it was a story from New Scientist magazine about the Perseverance rover that's currently cruising around Mars looking for signs of ancient life. Sometimes we think of the phrase, they don't make them like they used to, and imagine it must refer to white goods from the 1960s and 70s, basically. We had that story the other day about C-Day, colour TV, and the big concern from people who own TVs was, can the TV repairman fix the TV if it's suddenly in colour? And how much more is that going to cost? Because the idea was, you bought the TV, you had it for a long, long time. You got it serviced regularly like a car. The idea was it wasn't disposable, ended up in hard rubbish one day, or being taken to the Bunnings bin. The Perseverance rover on Mars, the new age piece of technology we have and we're responsible for, is powered by a 1998 iMac G3 PowerPC 750 processor. The processor in it comes from the sort of computer, you remember these well, because they changed the way computers looked forever. Remember the bubble, teal and purple and green? The Mac that came out.
What was it called, that Mac?
It was just the original iMac, I think.
And it was like a circle.
Yeah, that's right.
And it had a handle on the back.
That's right.
It felt really it felt poorly designed, like it was going to wobble and fall over.
It did. They looked really trendy and cool.
I had one for a while.
It turns out, the other thing they're really good at? Lasting a long time. And so here's the reality. You've got NASA with an unlimited budget who have said to their people, we need something that's going to last. Because if a chip breaks down on Mars and there's no repairman to go fix it, what can you get? The best they could get was from 1998. And
Seriously?
again goes to the idea of how things are made these days. Back then, these things were made to last a long time. What do they not make like they used to? There's a host of these examples. TVs were made to last. We had a fridge, I remember when I was younger growing up, that had been around for 20 years. And that was just not unusual. It was what you had, because that's what they were designed to do. These days, good luck with that. 8223 0000. We'll give away a $100 Waller's gift card. Nominate something that's not made like it used to.
That's good.
Ta-da! So what do you think?
Why are you all dressed up?
Well, you said we were going to have a big night.
I said it's bin night. Bin night.
Oh, that's the stretch Hummer.
Time for a hearing check? Specsavers offers great value on latest technology hearing aids. And like some of our customers told us, you could save up to half on prices quoted elsewhere. Book your free 15-minute hearing check with a Specsavers audiology professional at specsavers.com.au/hearing. Conditions apply.
What if your next holiday was always parked just outside the front door? Dave Benson Caravans sell your next holiday, and unlike an expensive overseas holiday, your dollar remains as an asset, your caravan. With over 120 new or used caravans and campers on display under one roof, the DBC Caravan Professionals can tailor your next family holiday to your lifestyle and needs. Your Australian journey awaits and begins at Dave Benson Caravans, 64 Grand Junction Road, Kilburn.
Summer's over, but with Mad March upon us, now's the perfect time to get into your local Vinnie shop and pick up a bargain. Now till Sunday, you'll save 30% off all clothing at all Vinnie's SA shops. Choose from a range of affordable pre-loved clothing, plus some top-name brands. And remember, shopping at Vinnie's is good for our environment, it's good for our community, and it's good for you. Find something unique at a Vinnie shop near you. vinnies.org.au/shops.
We hear you. You've lived enough to know you want more. More time, more freedom, more living. Introducing Encore Apartments from ECH, a new vertical retirement village at Modbury, opposite Tea Tree Plaza. 77 two-bedroom apartments, all with private balconies, plus on-site cafe, fitness centre and community garden. Book an appointment to see the new display suite at Parkside or visit echencore.com.au.
Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5 to 9. What do they not make like they used to? Turns out it's not just white goods, it's computer chips as well. The one in the rover on Mars is from 1998. Because they wanted one that was actually going to be a bit robust and last the distance. And they don't make them like that anymore. Sandra in Glenside, what do they not make like they used to?
Ovo biscuits. They're not what they used to be.
What different recipe do you think?
Oh, they've flattened it. There's no marshmallow on top. It's just a little bit of pink icing with a bit of coconut spread on top.
Well, that's just cost cutting, isn't it, Sandra?
Yeah,
that's just cost cutting.
Well,
what a rip-off.
Not what they used to be.
That's satisfied the brief. Good on you, Sandra. Mick, good morning.
How you going?
Good, thank you, Mick.
Tell you what they don't make like they used to, and that's a Holden.
Well,
yeah, that's
make 'em
quite
all.
literally. Yes, thank you, Mick. Philip and McGill, good morning.
Yeah, morning, boys. In the main, chips from the fish and chip shops, they used to cut their own, they'd blanch them, they'd stand for a while, and then they'd cook them when you placed the order. Now it's all this refrigerated or frozen rubbish.
Hey, Philip, what I'd throw into the mix there too, mate, for total public denunciation is the rise of the prefabricated potato fritter. Like, what's that garbage, these perfect circles of pre-mashed potato mixture that have got an actual crumbing on the outside. They're just wrong.
A lot
they
of
call
places,
them scallops in the eastern states.
Yeah,
potato
they do.
scallops. Hand-cut potato fritters.
Sydney, I think. Ugh. I'm not sure they call them that in Melbourne. They the pre-cut chip. They buy them in bulk these days too.
Yeah, the ones you get in the freezer are on the run. Like, you know, we want real hand-cut chips.
Yeah, thank you.
There's a bit of a resistance though, like Fish Out of Water on King William Road and Soto's. There's a lot of good fish shops in Adelaide.
Chicken Cove. They're good chips.
Oh, yeah.
Good, John, good morning.
Is that Port Road?
No,
Yes.
Tapley
Hill.
Hill.
Yeah. Sorry, John.
Morning, gents. Rakes. I still have my late mother's rake made by Pope. Each individual, it's a leaf rake, each individual thing on it can actually be replaced. You can undo the wing nut and stick it back on. And that was from about 1952 or 3. Not a spot of rust or anything like that.
You know, John, I've still got my late grandfather, Eric Charles Penberthy, sack truck. And it's got wooden handles and steel wheels, and I still use it for moving pots around at home.
We've still got a shed full of tools from my wife's families.
They look good, don't they?
You hold them and you think, well, this is not going any... Like, this will last a nuclear blast. Those tools all live beyond our lifetime.
Well, I mean, part of it now is we're a disposable society. If you're a tradie, you're going to go to Bunnings and buy 10 saws for $5, all of them made in China, and when they get blunt, you chuck them out.
Yeah.
But back in the... I mean, saw sharpening was a job.
Rob in Summerton Park, good morning.
Morning, guys.
How are you, Rob?
What they don't make now is comedians and jokes. I've not laughed since 1985. I seen a guy on a show the other day. He said, "Old people should be killed." Everyone laughed. And then he went, "No, I'm serious." And I thought, that's a joke.
Thank you, Rob.
You got to be careful what you joke about.
No, you don't like
Even
to joke
Dr.
at
Seuss
anything.
has found that out the hard way.
Ricky Gervais made a good point about off-brand, off-colour humour the other day, saying, you know what the people that want to cancel humour don't understand is that the idea that everyone laughs at something that they're not meant to is kind of reaffirms that that's a thing that's bad or that that's a thing that's not allowed. It's sort of, we all understood the subtext is we all understand that this is something that isn't acceptable.
Yeah.
And to laugh about it re-establishes that.
I was thinking about Rodney Roode in the 83 live album that he put out, the first one with the red cover. I reckon at least 50% of the jokes on that would be banned these days.
At least.
But I don't think any of it's motivated by even the remotest sense of hatred.
No.
And so much of the humour is about him just being this completely dysfunctional weirdo.
Yeah.
Like what he got up to when he went to Narara. Everyone familiar with that sketch will know exactly what I'm talking about. I think that sketch is hilarious.
Sam in Theberton, good morning.
Morning, boys. I've got a Kelvinator air conditioner we put in 1970. Never been serviced, and it still works.
Excellent.
51 years later.
It still works. The reverse side work, and it's one of the wall units. Clean the filter, it's still going. Never been serviced.
That's amazing.
That's had a better lifespan than a lot of people. That's amazing. Good on you, Sam. Julie, good morning.
Hello, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Hair dryers.
How
It's
long-
a girl thing. It's
Yep.
very much a girl thing. But
What about
years ago-
hair straighteners, Julie?
I don't go in for that stuff, all that weird and wonderful stuff. I just stick to a hair dryer. But years ago, you'd have one for years.
They
You
made
just
them
have
to
one for
last.
years.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now, every so often, it just goes,
Yeah, and they just stop working completely.
and that's it. And you've got and you're stuck in the middle. And what do? You have to buy a new one.
Yeah,
exactly.
You look shocking.
It's part of the business model these days that things break and you buy a new one. Who do you like with an $100 Waller's gift card?
Wool goes for a hair straightener every 6 months. I like John and his rake.
Yeah,
that
I
was
do.
cool.
I like the rake.
We liked them all. They're all good.
They're all good.
I don't know if John had ever rung before. Good on you, John, if you're on debut.
Yep.
Long-time listener, first-time caller. But John and his rake, you can get the Rollers voucher.
We're out of time. Leon Biner's coming up, and we will catch you tomorrow from 6.
Online,